Yeah, I can agree with that. Everyone knows. Yeah, so my stream title is just watched a pointless movie, so I decided to play a pointless game for a bit with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Everyone knows. Wait, my game capture isn't set up to like the right thing here. I need to talk about this while it's fresh in my mind. I gotta give a review of this. I usually don't do like movie review kind of stuff, but I can't not talk about this. And I was initially, it's already like 1 in the morning. I was originally planning on maybe streaming like a little bit of Fire Emblem 6 tonight or something like that. And then like I ramble while I go and do a map. But like this is kind of funny for like the fittingness of me having a lot of complaints about this game as well. And it's gonna be part 69 on this series on YouTube. The series up until this point was up to part 68. So I was like, oh screw it. I can make a joke about how it's like a pointless movie and a pointless game right here. And it's gonna be on part 69 of my Assassin's Creed Valhalla playthrough that I give a review of the Minecraft movie. So you know, but that means I probably won't be hopping right into main story stuff. I should just be making progress towards it. So the next things I have to do are like over that way. So I may as well get viewpoints. That one's already unlocked. I probably need these viewpoints. So I'm just gonna start going there, I think. And I'm gonna ramble about stuff. Clearly made for diehard Minecraft fans and nobody else. Not even them, I wouldn't say. I hope things are going well today. Fusion, Gear, Koviak, Mortis, Emerald Finder. And if there's other names up there that like I need to scroll past, then whoops. It was quite the experience. So first and foremost, I couldn't exactly, this is a thing that I couldn't get before, right? I couldn't exactly see it earlier today because is there fall damage in this? I forget. It's not like Odyssey. I couldn't get to it until a decent bit late today because I was helping out at Taekwondo testing, and then I went to the testing volunteer dinner afterwards. So I was doing Taekwondo stuffs for a decent bit of the day, but I excused myself from the dinner like a little bit early. I was able to hang out for most of it and chat with people, which was nice. And then went and to go pick up my cousin's kiddos, and we went to our 10 p.m. screening of the Minecraft movie. And we tried a new screen type that I never heard of before. I never heard of this being offered at the theaters. We tried something called Screen X, like it was designed by Elon Musk or something, where instead of just being the screen in front of you, it says that it's like a 270-degree screen, so it like surrounds you with the movie to like truly immerse yourself in the narrative experience. And I asked the kiddos if they wanted to see like a regular screening or the 270-degree neck breaker if you're looking back and forth. And I don't care about that over there. And they didn't mind either way, so I was like, all right, we're doing the neck breaker. That sounds funny, like funnier in the long term here. I don't know how to spell Taekwondo, T-A-E, Kwon, K-W-O-N, Do, just D-O. And stuff. The Minecraft movie is a Lovecraftian goddess shitposting because I cannot comprehend how this exists the way that it does. Or the movie explains next to nothing. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go across like the whole thing, I think, here. If anyone doesn't want spoilers for the Minecraft movie, leave now. You're probably not gonna miss any Assassin's Creed Valhalla plot in the meantime. I just want to like get stuff I want to get done in this game anyway, while this is going on. So the movie starts out with first of all, before I say how the movie starts out, I should just say like the general theater environment. There was quite a decent few groups of people that were dressed in suits there. I think I did my part in terms of dressing up. Like it's kind of hard to tell when I'm just wearing like, you know, scarf and jacket and stuff like that. I probably have to turn off the tracking on my camera here. That is the wrong software. Turn that off. But look, teal shirt, blue jeans. Look, I came prepared. I came in my outfit, and when my cousin's older kiddo saw that I was dressed in this, he immediately went to go change his clothes to like his blue dress pants and his teal shirt. So like I came prepared, and I was thinking about taking like a foam Minecraft sword and pickaxe that I know I have around here somewhere if I dig it out. But I was like, hey, I don't want to be mistaken as like a super fan or something. But I think I would have fit right in with the amount of people that went there in suits. And there was this one group of people that not only went there in suits, but went there with like Minecraft name tags above their heads. Like, you came prepared. I was not enough. Like if you see cosplays that people will do of like Sims or something like that at like Comic Cons where they have like the little green icon above their head. Imagine that, but they did it with like their Minecraft usernames. So some people came like really prepared. There, that Jeff from Claire's cosplay. Yeah, what? So yeah, some people came in there like, well, why did my stream start playing? That is going to like super lag my PC. Stop playing. Stop playing on the stream manager. Also, what the hell just blew up? I remember just showing the front of his pants to the stream. I came in my outfit. Whatever. Minecraft Steve, the teal shirt and the blue jeans. I came in the setup in a non-weird way. So the movie begins. We have Jack Black being like, as a kid, I yearned for the mines and all that, and it's giving like the whole like pre-story stuff where it's like, as a kid he couldn't get into the mines, so then he like grew up as an adult in like a boring life, but then he remembered, oh yeah, the mines, I want to go there and like adventure and stuff, so he goes into the mines for adventure, and he digs up the MacGuffin that allows him to go to the world of Minecraft. Two MacGuffins that you combine, and then it becomes like the portal between like the Minecraft world and the real world MacGuffin. It's a horrible story. And like the way that they do it with him remembering that he wants to like go to the mines is him like playing around with his lunch of mashed potatoes on his desk at work, and then like stacking carrots to look like it's a mine shaft, and he's like, then I remembered the mines. And then he starts going to the mines, he digs up the MacGuffins, he puts it together, and then it becomes the portal, and he goes through the portal into the Minecraft world, and he's like, whoa, in this world I can let my creativity flow instead of being stuck in like the boring work stuff like I'm stuck in and stuff in real life. Wow. And he falls in love with the Minecraft world and is showing off his different houses, and now he's like fighting off mobs and stuff like that, like a whole montage of here's all the stuff that happens before the proper story. And he finds a bone on the ground next to a wolf that he's like, hey, here, take this. And then he names his wolf that he tamed Dennis, who actually becomes like half of the time a key plot point, and half the time may as well not exist. Is very much what it felt like. And Dennis is like his best friend because he was like really lonely in the Minecraft world, and you would think that would mean that when the other characters in the story come into play in the story, that would help like fill the void in his heart or something like that. No, that's never really brought up again, his loneliness. As long as he is Dennis, like he's good. That's never gonna be delved into again. And then he finds a ruined portal, and this is where the audience started getting pretty interactive. Like both the Yearn for the Mines and the Flint and Steel. I think that some of this stuff must have been in like trailers before it came out, because a lot of the audience knew like what was going to be said before it was said, like leading up to some things. So like when Jack Black was like, I yearn for the mines, the whole audience goes, well, not the whole audience, but like significant sections of the audience go, I yearn for the mines, and then everyone applauds. And then when he's going to activate the nether portal, the whole audience says with Jack Black, Flint and Steel, woo, and everyone starts applauding. It was the most interactive I've ever seen an audience in my life. It was quite the experience. It was kind of like the clips that I had seen of, I had heard that they had like rescreened the SpongeBob movie like 20 years after it came out, and I saw clips of people like watching it and the whole audience yelling out like some of the key parts that they knew. It was like that, but with a new release here. Like people were yelling out key parts, and whenever they had something that they could yell out and match like what Jack Black was saying, everyone in the audience would start applauding. Like, I didn't always hear what I was saying because there was applause during the movie for significant portions. But yeah, there is definitely bad CGI if you watch in the way where I did, where you see extra stuff off the side of the screens that is not always exactly the best quality. That was definitely the case. But anyway, he activates the nether portal, he goes through to the nether, which turns out to be like a super hateful place with all these piglins that hate creativity. They just want to mine for gold and stuff. So he's like, well, take me, don't take Dennis. And the big bad is like, I think I'll just take both of you. And then imprisons Jack Black and Dennis. And the thing, what?
This person was running from up there.
can I just like, let's say I did this. Can I do a stun attack thing with a stun attack? How much damage does that do? Like, not too much. Okay, I don't know here if this is worth going for. I don't feel like avenging that other player there. But yeah, so where was I at here? They're in the Nether. Again, this is still like very rapid fire, like montage before the main plot starts kind of thing. And that MacGuffin that Jack Black had to get like into the Minecraft world is something that the main villain wants, because I guess it lets you open like a bigger portal or something like that. It's not entirely clear why the villain wants it, because the villain can already get into the overworld with like regular portals and does on multiple occasions, but eventually the MacGuffin just lets him open like a bigger portal that lets him get like more dudes through, and I guess like spawns nether wart outside so that they don't zombify. I guess that's what it does. But like they can still kind of do stuff in the overworld otherwise. Like if someone drinks a nether wart potion or has nether wart around, we don't ever really see them get zombified, so it begs the question of like, what the hell is the point? What is the button here? Let's see. We'll keep on getting fast travel points and stuff. This will help me in the future. Yeah, the plot device lets them open the dark portal to invade Azeroth, even though they could already still like do that is the case. But like I guess Netherwart is like really finite, and you know, having the MacGuffin just lets them spawn a whole bunch as they go, and then they don't have to worry about being zombified on the other side. So the main villain wants the MacGuffin, and Jack Black's like, oh, I can't let the main villain have the MacGuffin. So he gives the MacGuffin to his wolf Dennis and says, take this to my home address, like follow my scent or something, and take it to like my old home that like you've never been to before, that presumably since entering the Minecraft world he's never like gone back to like the real world. And the wolf takes the MacGuffin, runs out to the runs all the way out to the like the real world. Some piglins try to follow out the nether portal into like the overworld and immediately get zombified, even though like I would presume that they have nether wart at that point. Like maybe they just didn't think about doing that yet, if that's a thing that lets them not get zombified. But anyway, some of them get zombified and they're like, oh, we can't pursue, and then Dennis the wolf goes through the portal and goes to Jack Black's home in the real world and shoves it under his bed, and then yeah, the MacGuffin is like totally safe now, I guess. While Jack Black is being held prisoner, and the wolf just like exists in the real world now. Does that ever come into play in any way? This wolf being in the real world? No, not once. It has zero impact. None whatsoever. In fact, later in the story, when like the heroes like open the portal again and go through, the wolf just goes back through into the Minecraft world, and nothing ever happens with the wolf being in the real world. Yeah, the villager does. The one villager does, but the wolf that came to like the real world to hide the MacGuffin just does not. So now we can like properly start our plot. There's a MacGuffin out there that can go to the Minecraft world, and we're being introduced to our characters. We're first introduced to Jason Momoa, who isn't even like our main character. Our main character is the kid who I believe is named Henry. But we're introduced to Jason Momoa first for some reason, even though he's kind of more of like a side character. And he takes up like screen time for a decent bit, as if he's like the main character. It takes a bit before the story actually introduces like what I presume it wants me to perceive as the main character. So Jason Momoa comes into play, and he's like a Billy Mitchell type character that like has all these old video game records that he's super proud of, and I guess in this world got like legitimately unlike Billy Mitchell. That's just the first person I think of when I think people that are like super proud of their old video game scores and stuff. He's a struggling business owner that is trying to sell like retro gaming stuff, and just cannot sell any stuff, and he's got like an eviction notice. He's like super full of himself. The post lady comes to deliver him his eviction notice, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm not doing any autographs right now. Like, just a very cocky kind of character. Do we ever see him like get past that in any meaningful way? Not really. That doesn't necessarily change, or if it does, like it's just very sudden and he's like cool with other people now. Like, we saw him being full of himself, but not him like not being willing to work with others. He was always willing to kind of work with others and long for friends and stuff like that. But he never really stops being full of himself, so like that part of his character doesn't change. It's just what his character is. Um, and, yeah, he goes to, like, go bid on a locker because he hears that there's, like, an old Atari inside that he thinks is gonna be worth a whole bunch. And, he bids on that, finds that it's just an empty box, there's nothing inside. And, I appreciate the follow there, 80 play Monster Hunter. And, someone's starting to see me there. But there's the MacGuffin that he finds in, like, the storage unit. And so he takes the MacGuffin and, like, puts it on the shop, on, like, the shelves in his shop for someone to hopefully buy, I guess, while he's kind of scrounging for funds. And only then are we introduced to, like, our main character and his sister, whose name I honestly do not remember for the life of me, because I don't think that it was ever mentioned all that much, where they're moving to this small town that makes potato chips, because it's the place that their mother wanted them to move to in her will. It's not clear what was said in her will. It's not clear how she died. This never comes up. It's just they are moving into this small town to live because, like, there's a job opportunity for his older sister that is basically his caretaker, his guardian now. And it's where their mother apparently wanted them to live in her will that we never see, like, any proof of, any evidence of. It is very, very odd. The Wark mind virus. The Roic, okay, so they move into this town, they get into this place, and the lady that I presume is their landlord is there, and, like, either landlord or, like, real estate agent, because it said at the end of the movie that she was a real estate agent, and that she was finally able to, like, stop being a real estate agent, but she acts like she's their landlord, where it's like, yeah, hope you get settled in, hope that everything's, you know, a-okay, let me know if you need anything, like that kind of thing. So it wasn't really clear what the hell she even was. Any other viewpoints around here? I guess I can go get, like, that in the meantime while I go around, like, rambling and getting stuff. She wasn't the landlord. I thought she was their neighbor until it said she was in real estate. Yeah, it's just not clear what the hell she even is necessarily. And she also doesn't really serve any point in the plot. Yeah, you don't really know much about them at all. What you know about the main character, I think his name is Henry, but again, like, there was Garrick, which was Jason Momoa's character, and Steve with Jack Black. Why don't I just jump down this way? What the hell's wrong with me? And that's all the ones I really knew. Okay, yeah, I thought it was Henry there. And what we know about Henry is that Henry's, like, really creative. He's just a very naturally creative person. And he kind of struggles with friends, it seems like, because he has, like, some mention about that. So his sister's settling in with this new job. He's settling in at school. She makes him a tater tot pizza for, like, breakfast to go share with people at school, it seems like, which, like, he initially takes with him. On the way, he stops in at Jason Momoa's shop, and, Jason Momoa's like, whoa, a tater tot pizza. Like, that's pretty cool, but maybe not, like, the vibes that you want to give to, like, other people at school. And is offering, like, life counseling advice because he's just, like, a super cool guy that has life figured out and is trying to, like, get revenue wherever he can. So Henry's like, cool, I'm gonna keep on going to school. And he goes to school, and friggin' everyone there just, like, trauma dumps before they tell him anything that he actually needs to know. The principal is like, oh, welcome in. I'm going through a troublesome divorce, or I went through a troublesome divorce because, like, the embers haven't been there for about 20 years and we kept it going because of the dogs. And, anyway, well, welcome on into the school. And then the teacher that you later find out was the one that she divorced was like, yeah, I'm going through a really tough time in life. I've got all this stuff invested here. I have, like, basically no money to my name. Anyway, I'm your gym and, like, science teacher. Friggin' everyone there is just, like, trauma dumping before they actually tell other characters, like, what they would presumably need to know in this situation. It just feels very odd. Like, I know it's played for comedy, but when it happens, like, twice back to back, it's like, okay, this just feels kind of weird now. So they start doing the art class. Yeah, it was art class and gym class is what he did, not science class. It's just that they start doing science in it later. That made me think that it was science class. Yeah, trauma dumping to people that literally just moved there and new students at the school. It's kind of what's going on there. Anything else along the way here? Other viewpoints? What the heck is that? Who even knows? And so in art class, the teacher gives them all the task of here's a banana, here's an orange. Just draw those two things on their own in some way. So people are drawing like the banana in front of the orange and the orange in front of the banana. In this game, I don't think I can, but we can call him Dennis anyway. That's what we could do in honor of the amazing Minecraft movie. But Henry, he gets a bit more creative. He draws the banana strapped to like a jetpack that's taking off, and the teacher's like, hey, you're not supposed to do that. Like, actually do the assignment next time. I told you to just draw a banana and orange, like not a banana with a jetpack. Like, just stick to the assignment, okay? And then like the other kids start bullying him, like, oh, that jetpack would never work anyway. And Henry's like, yes, it would. And the other kids are like, prove it. And then it starts like a friggin' Rocky training sequence of assembling this jetpack for real, presumably just in the middle of class out of nowhere. So the teacher wasn't okay with him drawing something outside of the assignment, but I guess is perfectly okay with him assembling a full-on usable jetpack in the middle of art class. Like, okay. And so he makes this jetpack, and all the students come outside to watch him use the jetpack, including the teacher, which is another evidence that points towards like this being like during class. And he's about to launch the jetpack, and some of the other students come up and they use scissors and they cut one of the wires on the jetpack that makes it fail. And yeah, well, you would think, but the teacher does notice, and he's there for like the live launch test. The teacher's watching, so he just doesn't care. Is the thing. So you would also think in movies that like characters would grow in some way. Henry does not change. Like you would think with the whole theme of Minecraft that it would help to like bring out his creativity. Like he would figure out like, hey, maybe I shouldn't just be drawing a banana. I should be drawing a banana with a jetpack, and maybe I can make like a real jetpack. No, he's just naturally talented from the beginning. Like the jetpack, like the movie has you infer that it would have worked completely fine on its own, but fails simply because like some other students came and like snipped one of the wires. A factor completely out of his control and presumably wouldn't change later in the plot. So like he just starts out as like a completely naturally talented Jimmy Neutron boy genius that doesn't learn how to channel that creativity. He's just naturally super creative and amazing from the get-go. Because Henry's archetype is the modder, which is horrible for the main character. He's just like amazing at it. Like the plot doesn't help him like channel that creativity. Like it's probably not too spoilery to say that he has a functional jetpack at the end of the story. Like after they've done the whole adventure and stuff is wrapping up and it's showing where the characters have ended up, it shows him coming to school in a functional jetpack. That's not because of like the events of the story. That's because he was able to make one without people snipping his wires. That has nothing, he experienced no growth through the story that made that kind of outcome possible. So anyway, he's just naturally creative, but other students are mean and like snip the wires, and and so the jetpack fails, and it's a good thing that he used like just a dummy in that case, and it goes flying into like the head of friggin' Mr. Potato at the potato chip factory, and so people at the potato chip factory are not like super impressed. Yeah, it accidentally commits terrorism, like right where his sister is working. And so he's called to the principal's office, like the teacher bails out, and the principal is like, this is grounds for expulsion. I need to speak to your guardian. And he elects to not call in his sister, I guess because she works at the factory that he like did damage to. Like it never actually says the reason why he elected not to call his sister. He just decides like not to call her. And instead he calls Jason Momoa and is like, hey, random guy that I just met willing to give life advice, can you just like pretend to be my uncle and be like my guardian for a second? And Jason Momoa is like, nah, kid, I don't do that anymore. And then Henry's like, I'll give you $20 or something. I forget what exact amount he says. And then Jason Momoa like pulls up to school, and things get very, very sexual in terms of like the talk between him and the principal, with her being like, oh, so you're called the garbage man, huh? Why don't you take me around back and like delve into my bins? But I gotta get like some raccoons out of there first. And then Jason Momoa was like, whoever divorced you was an idiot, and then he drives off. Like, and she doesn't even have a talk to him about Henry's behavior. She's just like, I guess he can just like go home and I don't need to talk to a guardian after all. Like, you're in the clear because I'm extremely turned on and very vocal about how turned on I am about Jason Momoa. Yeah, that is very much what is going on with the principal. So they drive out of there and they go to Jason Momoa's game shop and are chatting about things there. And that's kind of where I guess you could argue that Henry kind of gives up on his creativity briefly, because I'm remembering now that in the shop he's like, when Jason Momoa is like so desperate for any little thing he can get, he's like, hey, can I have this like scrap of paper from your notebook? Because like paper's not just free. Henry's like, here, you can have like the whole journal. Like, I don't want it anymore, as he throws it in the trash because he wants to give up on his creativity, I guess. And then he sees the two separate things of the MacGuffin, the cube or the orb as they call it, and like the thing that it goes into. And he's like, huh, what's this thing? And Jason Momoa's like, oh, I don't know. And then he opens the bag that it came in, which comes with like a note that he never read before that point. And Jason Momoa's like, huh, it says, whatever you do, do not put these things together. And then Henry immediately puts them together, which causes like some, like, it's not one of those sequences where it's like you hear don't put it together, but you're already too far in the process and you don't react in time kind of thing. It was, he hears that and he's like, the first thing I'm going to decide to do after hearing that, not even check the rest of the note, is put it together. And so it does like this crazy magic stuff, and the backside of the note is like, hey, there's a shit ton of riches here, so like you don't want to go through the portal that this opens, even if you're like a struggling businessman. And now that the things are put together, it like is pulling Henry towards like the portal that is now opened. So like he's holding on to this and I guess like can't let go. Or it's not clear whether he can let go or not, because sometimes it feels like it's gluing his fingers on, sometimes it feels like he's just like casually holding it, and it's like pulling him towards the mine shaft in question. And and Jason Momoa is like, hey, it sounds like there's riches there that I need, so I'm just gonna like follow the kid to wherever this is going. He couldn't let go, he just didn't. Okay, well, they follow it then to like the mine shaft. And meanwhile, his sister pulls up to their house and sees like the landlord, realtor, whatever the heck she is, and is like, what the heck, where's my little brother? He hasn't answered his phone. Like he's gone AWOL, or he wasn't at school or something. She can't find him for some reason or another. I don't know if she went past school to see if he was there or was calling his phone or something like that. And then the landlord, realtor, whatever the heck she is like, oh, here, give me that. And then she freaking reverse engineers the thing to be able to like track him. Or maybe she just opens like a Find My iPhone app or something like that. And is like, oh, he's here. He's going to the mine shaft. And so the sister decides to race towards the mine shaft. And the realtor, landlord, whatever the heck she is, decides to come along too for some reason. And so that gets our group of 4 together of like Jason Momoa, Henry, the sister, and the diversity, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what she is. I don't know what purpose she serves in the plot. You can take her out of the plot and it'll change absolutely nothing. And they're together at the mine shaft and they see this portal. And the sister and the I'm just gonna call her the landlord because I have no idea what the hell she is. If she's not the landlord, whatever. I'm gonna call her the landlord. The sister and the landlord show up and the sister's like, what the hell, Henry? I've been looking all over for you. What the heck is that? And then like the portal like starts pulling in like the MacGuffin and he doesn't want to let go of the MacGuffin, and they make like a train. Yeah, I mean, you're honestly not wrong about that. What other viewpoints can I get in the meantime? This, I guess. I'm just gonna get viewpoints while I ramble about this crap. And I guess he could probably let go of the MacGuffin. Maybe he couldn't. It felt like it was kind of stuck to him. He's like, oh no, it's pulling me in. And then they form like one of those kind of cartoon chains of like the orb is pulling him and Jason Momoa is holding on to him. And then like one of the 2 other ones is holding on to him and the other one of the 2 is like holding on at the back to make like a chain of 4. And then like just Henry gets pulled in forcibly, like because Jason Momoa I guess doesn't have good enough grip, and then the other 3 just kind of walk through casually without like guessing, huh, is that just death if we walk through? They just kind of walk through, and then they find the world of Minecraft, and they're like, whoa, what is this place? And they see the pink sheep immediately, and it seems like they took out the cringe scream from like 15 years ago from the trailers. And Jason Momoa is like, oh, I know a lot about video games. This is a quest giver. Oh, wise quest giver, guide us to like the riches and stuff. And then what the hell gets them moving forward from there? I gotta remember how, because things don't naturally lead into one another. Oh, I remember. It turns to night. And the characters are like, huh, that was fast, since it's like 20 minutes in game for things to turn to night. And so they start running away from all the hostile mobs. And Jason Momoa gets separated from the other three at some point there, and he falls into a hole and finds a shovel, and then he starts digging a hole, and that's how he's able to like get away from the mobs. Meanwhile, yeah, because that's the way that do be canonically. Meanwhile, as they're like barreling away, Henry like face plants into a tree, which breaks the block and has it floating there, and he reaches out to it and he grabs the block. He's like, oh, this gives me an idea. And then he starts punching the tree and gets a second block. And then somehow with the power of 2 wood blocks, he goes around like building an entire house. And his sister and the landlord are just like, or is the landlord especially is like, what the hell? How is he doing that? Do it faster, Henry. Like, and just as he starts going around, like, and by the time he's made like a whole like square around them, the moment it goes to like the next camera shot, he's built like halfway up like a tower at that point with his building materials as the mobs are like slowly approaching them. And it's like, okay, you don't really have to build it much more than that, but like, okay, you do you. Also, where do you get all these materials from? It's the real estate lady was just there to be a stereotype. It very much felt that way. So they start building like this tower, and Jason Momoa at some point got the artifact, the MacGuffin, I'm just gonna call it. And like he emerges from his hole, even though he would have been like completely safe if he just stayed in his hole. And he sees that there's now a full freaking castle battlement that has been made out of wood, like a freaking castle looking tower, with even like the stuff for purely aesthetics, like the whole 1 block here, 1 block here, 1 block here, 1 block here. I don't know how to describe it, but that kind of thing that is very castle kind of feeling is made for just like no reason, I guess. So he runs up to the tower because he wants in. Remember watching that and going, how the fuck? So they just had to like, from the 2 blocks broken, I guess, the entire friggin' battlement built. And then, yeah, it really was a master building moment. And Jason Momoa runs to the tower, completely giving up like his advantageous hole spot. And is like, let me in, let me in. And he starts like fighting some zombies out there that are giving him a whole bunch of trouble. And while he's holding out the artifact, the MacGuffin, a skeleton arrow like breaks half of the MacGuffin. So like they need the blue cube inside, and they need like a glass exterior thing that it slides into. A skeleton arrow shatters specifically the glass exterior, which closes the portal and traps them in and gives them like a reason to stick around, because they need a new one of those if they want to get out. So then Henry, the Earth Crystal, yeah, that is what it was called. Henry breaks some blocks and like pulls Jason Momoa in, and then some zombies start coming in. And he doesn't just like put the blocks back, I guess. He just kind of lets the zombies wander in. Oh, and I forgot, like before this point, I think while Jason Momoa is still outside, Reed, yeah, I don't care. Reed, in case anyone cares, because I sure don't. A little short viewpoint here. While he's still down there and panicking, and like the other 3 characters are watching, oh, there goes my tracks. While the other 3 characters are watching from the top battlement, a zombie just appears next to them, even though like the building is like a solid surface and like zombies can't break blocks. A zombie just appears next to them, and it doesn't show a bit like, did the zombie spawn in because they didn't have any torches around? Did it work by like that mechanic? It just appears, and the characters like just kind of turn and they start screaming because the zombie's next to them. In like a battlement that should be completely secure because the zombies can't break blocks, it just literally appears next to them off camera in a completely unknown way. There's just like a zombie somehow in the fort for an inexplicable reason, and that gives them like a reason to fight it now, I guess. They pull Jason Momoa in, and I guess maybe they actually do replace some blocks, because I remember a creeper has to come and explode it. And it is very inconsistent in terms of like how creepers work. So, I don't care what the rules of your world is when you're telling a story. Just make your rules consistent. Like, establish rules and stick to it. And the movie has 2 instances where creepers act as like, yeah, they just kind of hang around and wander around randomly. Like, maybe they sort of wander up to you, but they only explode if you touch them. And then there's another instance with the tower where they just friggin' full-on tactical kamikaze pilot strategizing to let their other allies in. So after Jason Momoa comes out of his hole for the first time, there's like a creeper behind him, which like startles him. So like he spins around quickly and smacks him. And then the creeper's gonna explode, like, while he's, like, apologizing to the creeper. Creeper explodes, and then he starts running towards the battlement. So, like, the creeper just kind of walks up to him and hangs out, but the moment that it gets touched, it, like, explodes. And that's how it works, again, later in the movie, when they're, like, completely surrounded by creepers, is, like, you know, just don't touch them. They're kind of wandering close. They are completely surrounded by them. The movie establishes that it's a creeper farm that Jack Black made. And they just don't, like, run up, they don't explode, they don't do anything unless they're touched. And yet, for this battlement that they're in, this tower that they're, like, chilling out in, with it being a solid wall, a creeper just wanders up to it, does a tactical kamikaze to make a hole for, like, its allies to get through. So, like, there's an instance where a creeper is willing to tactically sacrifice itself just for, like, a chance of the human characters dying, and other instances where they're just like, yeah, we're just kind of hanging out, and we'll explode if you touch us. So, the movie can't actually decide, like, what mechanics it wants creepers to follow, for whatever reason. And at this point, there was, I guess, a bit I forgot about with Jack Black, where, after Dennis, the wolf ran off, and, like, it dropped its collar along the way. The collar fell off. And the piglins got that, and they still have Jack Black hostage, so, or, like, in jail. So the main head honcho, I forget her name, I'm just gonna call her the witch. She, like, presents Dennis's collar, and is like, go get us the MacGuffin. Like, or else, like, who knows what'll happen to Dennis, and, Maragosha, I'm not gonna, or Mygosha? Malgosha? I'm not gonna remember that, I'm calling her the witch. She's like, we could have Dennis, or we could not. Do you really want to gamble on us? Go get us the MacGuffin, or else Dennis gets it if we have him. Like, even though Jack Black should logically know that if the MacGuffin is out there, and because Dennis is the one that had the MacGuffin. So if they would have Dennis, that would mean that they would also have the MacGuffin, and they wouldn't need Jack Black to go and get it. But by the fact that they don't have the MacGuffin and they need Jack Black to go and get it, that means that Dennis got away, and they clearly don't have Dennis, unless they somehow found some way to go, like, capture him after. So you'd think that by logic, he would figure, like, hey, they don't have Dennis there, but he's like, oh, I may as well go get, like, the MacGuffin anyway for leverage, just in case they have Dennis, even though logically, there's no way that they do. So he goes to the overworld again, since he doesn't have to worry about getting zombified by being in the overworld, and he runs over to the tower, and he's, like, kicking ass and stuff. He starts, like, deleting the zombies, and, like, going up to the top of the battlement, and doing, like, a whole bunch of, like, moves on them, and, like, twisting their arms in weird ways, and I guess they have joints, and, like, their skeletons work in ways like a normal human, as he's doing, like, arm bars and stuff like that, and, like, twisting their joints in different ways. So I guess despite them being cuboid, they work by, like, normal, like, skeletal structure rules. And then, like, he's looking at the time, or he's pretending to look at the time, there's nothing on his wrist. And he realizes that day is about to come, and day suddenly comes, and everyone gets set on fire. And then he does, like, his wha-bam that you see from the trailer, as, like, the zombies burst into flames behind him. And they're like, who are you? And he's like, I am Steve. And then, like, the whole audience goes, am Steve, and then everyone starts applauding, so I don't know, like, what words followed that. And they don't really ask him anything about his backstory, like, are you a person from the real world that got stuck here? Like, how long have you been here? They don't really ask him anything. He's just the only thing that they ask him is, like, how do we get back to our world? Or they're like, we're gonna try to go back to, like, the real world now, and Jack Black's like, you can't. The Earth Crystal broke. You need an Earth Crystal if you want to go back to your world. And if you want an Earth Crystal, you have to go to a woodland mansion where I guess they can spawn, but, like, of course one is gonna, like, guaranteed be there and stuff. Yeah, essentially, is what was going on there. And Jack Black is like, hey, if I show you the way to the woodland mansion to get the Earth Crystal and stuff, and you go back to, like, the real world, can I just have it after you're done? And they're like, sure, that sounds like a fine deal. And, like, Jack Black and Jason Momoa start getting, like, a bromance and stuff. And Jason Momoa's like, hey, I'm the leader here, so follow 2 rules. Like, 1, you address me as, like, some particular way that I don't remember him ever addressing him as even, so I don't know what the point of that was. And then, like, second is you're only getting the MacGuffin when we're done or something like that. And Jason Momoa establishes that, like, he has the MacGuffin. I'm pretty sure there in that moment. And I mean, he had the MacGuffin before that point, because he was outside the battlement. The Earth Crystal got shattered, and, like, he had the MacGuffin. And yet, later in the plot, it's shown to be, like, him having the MacGuffin was, like, a secret thing, because Henry thought that, like, Henry had the MacGuffin when he didn't, and I don't know why he got that idea. Like, did he think that, like, was there a part that I missed where it went into, like, his backpack or something like that? And Jason Momoa took it back? Because there's a part later in the movie where Jason Momoa reveals to Henry that he had the MacGuffin, and he's like, yeah, I stole it from you during, like, this sequence. I was like, what? I thought Jason Momoa had it, like, for, like, the entire past, however the heck, and I thought that was just, like, common knowledge, but I guess he stole it, and it was, like, a super secret that he had it. And so, Jason Momoa is the one with the leverage over Steve. And whenever Jason Momoa wants things to go a certain way, he just shows, like, the MacGuffin in his jacket to Steve. And then Steve, like, goes, sigh. Alright, I guess we'll do it this way that Jason Momoa wants. Is the way that always goes. And Henry just never realizes that Jason Momoa has the MacGuffin, I guess, or something. It was very, yeah. There are some moments where they were almost fucking one another, to be fair. And hello, Lozer Notari, and you're not wrong about that. So they decide that they are going to go to a village to stock up because they need materials that's going to help them take on a woodland mansion. They need good enough equipment. So they go to the village. Everyone is stunned about the villagers. Yeah, that was one of the few things that I enjoyed too, honestly, was the bromance between the two of them. I can agree with that. They go to a village. The cast is weirded out by the villagers. Jack Black shows them, like, it's unclear if it's something that the villagers made, considering there's literally, like, a villager manning the station, or something Jack Black made. It seems like it's more likely that it's something that Jack Black made, so I don't know why there's, like, a villager manning it, unless, like, he put a villager in there or something like that, like a Minecraft player would. But he shows off to, like, his chicken farm that automatically cooks them up using lava, and then he sings, like, a little song that goes on for a decent while. And, like, the first part of the song, some of the people in the audience start singing along and applauding and stuff. And yeah, we find out from the movie that they have human intelligence, so you can't just manipulate them like AI in the game. So I don't know what's going on with, like, the guy manning it, because the guy doesn't even do anything, like being behind the chicken stand. Jack Black just pulls a lever and then automatically delivers, like, cooked chicken, whereas the guy that looks like he's behind, like, the stall and manning things just stands there, doesn't do anything. He just, like, watches you while you do the whole process. So there's literally no point to him even being there, so I don't get it. Then they go into, like, at least Henry, Jack Black, and Jason Momoa go check out, like, Jack Black's stash while his sister and the landlord go to, like, get a map to the woodland mansion. It seems like they were trying to do, because I guess they want to trade with the villagers for that. Man, I'm getting syphilis here now. And while they're checking out the stash and stuff there, Jason Momoa finds an ender pearl and is like, what's this? And Jack Black's like, it's an ender pearl. You'll teleport anywhere you throw it. And Jason Momoa's like, what? No way. And then he throws it behind him, and then it teleports him, and he panics and stuff. And Jack Black's like, well, that was my only one. I nearly lost my life fighting an enderman for that. Which is, like, a really weird thing to say when there is actually an enderman fight later in the movie by Henry, who wins by literally just taking an axe and going like this. Like typical, like, Minecraft swinging, just constantly. And the enderman keeps on teleporting into his strikes and dies and gives him an ender pearl later in the plot. So, like, the whole, I nearly lost my life fighting an enderman to that, when endermen are later shown in the plot to be defeatable just by going like this. And then they keep on teleporting into the attacks and stuff. Yeah, it very much is foreshadowing, because they needed to get, like, an ender pearl later in the plot and stuff. That one was kind of cool, but I feel like it wasn't really made all that good on. But anyway, they're going through some of their gear, and then Jack Black introduces the crafting table, which is used in this instance of the plot, and that is it, except for, like, right at the end where they make, like, one sword. And, like, iron blocks, I guess. They make a shit ton of iron blocks, and they make one sword at the end of the movie. Apart from that, the crafting table is never used again. Only in this one instance, where Jack Black shows off making a sword. And then Jason Momoa puts a whole bunch of, like, random crap on there, and then he makes, like, a double bucket attached by a chain, and gets his, like, bucket chucks. And then Henry is like, hey, I'm gonna combine this stuff here, as he pulls out, like, tater tots that he had in his pocket. And he crafts a thing together with a battery, and he makes a tater tot gun. And Jack Black's like, nice, a tater tot gun, or tot gun, or something like that. You're combining stuff from the real world. That's sick. It's very odd. It's like, what is the use of a, yeah, it's an unlimited ammo potato gun that actually does a shit ton of damage to people that it shoots for some reason. I guess for just, like, the family-friendly, like, gun there or something or other. So he makes that. The big bad witch is like, here, a bunch of my minions. She goes to her head honcho minion, who's literally called Chungus, and is like, here, drink this, like, nether wart potion. It'll prevent you from getting zombified in the overworld. No snowball gun, that is not a thing, but there's a tater tot gun. So they drink the nether wart potion, and they go to the overworld to go get the MacGuffin, because they just don't trust Jack Black to, like, go get the MacGuffin after all. So they come and raid the village and attack there, and Jack Black is like, oh, what the heck is going on with that? And, like, even though I don't think that he really brings up all that much about, like, betrayal by the witch there, and he still wants to get the MacGuffin and have leverage over her and stuff, even though she's very clearly shown that she wants to kill him. So anyway, they start battling it out there, and, like, Jason Momoa tries to fight with his bucket chucks, which doesn't work, and he just knocks out Jack Black in the process, and then Henry ends up having to be the one to fight, because, Jason Momoa's struggling. Jack Black is knocked out for a while. He has a tater tot gun that just, like, one-shots anything that it, attacks, it seems like. And his sister and the landlady are just, like, freaking 9th degree black belts out here that just start, like, destroying all these presumably trained fighters with, like, random things like a shovel and a hoe. I think that's actually their two weapons, is, like, a shovel and a hoe. Yeah, that is very much the case there. And this is never, like, established before. Like, do they have, like, a combat training background? Does the plot, like, prove that they are, like, adept fighters before it becomes, like, something that they actually need to use, like a lot of movies would do, like, show some character background? No, they're just friggin' pro fighters that go around killing all these child piglin soldiers left and right. And they are just, like, super combat pros that are not gonna worry about, like, anything being sent their way for whatever reason. Jack Black wakes up, and Jason Momoa, Henry, and Jack Black decide that they need to start going to the Woodland Mansion, and the other two will just, like, meet them there later. And the other two, the sister and the landlord, are just like, oh, we can't reach them. There's, like, a few guys in the way, so we can't reach the other part of our group. We're just gonna have to meet them at the Woodland Mansion later. And so they split up for whatever reason here. Yeah, Jack Black pulls a Lytra of his ass. When they were in, like, the room with all his stuff to stock up on, it was filled with, like, all these tools, like, all these diamonds, all these weapons, all this armor. And apparently the only things that he grabbed from that room were 2 Elytra. It's the only things that he grabbed from that room. So meanwhile, the Jack Black, Jason Momoa, and Henry team is, like, on some high up rampart, and Jack Black puts an Elytra on Jason Momoa and Henry, and is like, here, these'll let you fly and stuff. So Jason Momoa tests out whether it works or not by literally pushing Henry off, literally pushing a child to presumably his death if it doesn't work, just to test out to see if he'll be okay. So, like, literally endangering a child's life directly just to see if it was a threat to him. And then it works, and then he jumps off, and then Jack Black is like, oh shit, I didn't pack a 3rd Elytra. I guess I'm jumping down and riding on Jason Momoa. Sad thing is, the movie's getting a sequel. It's made over double the box office prediction. My god. So Jack Black jumps down, and hops onto Jason Momoa's back and is riding him while holding his hair like he's freaking Remy from Ratatouille, controlling him as they're flying around. And now there's ghasts in play, it seems like, as well. So I still don't entirely understand why they need the MacGuffin to invade the overworld when they are getting full-on battalions and ghasts and stuff like that through a regular portal. I guess they just need, like, an upgrade over that to take on the overworld with, like... Who in the overworld is going to stop them, is the question. Like, the villagers aren't going to do anything. The iron golems are even established in the movie to only, like, do anything if they're provoked. Like, there's nothing in the overworld that is going to stop them. And they are able, as is, to get, like, these entire battlements through with, like, these ghasts and, like, such a significant amount of an army through the portal. And yet, that's not enough. That is not enough there, for whatever reason. They need the MacGuffin to, like, get through, like, more of an army or something or whatever the hell. So there's, like, a whole aerial battle where they're trying to, like, dodge these gassed fireballs and stuff while, like, making it forward through this ravine. There's a brief section where they split up. There's a couple of ghasts that come out with, like, a big net over the top of this cliff. So if you try to go over the top of the cliff, you're gonna get caught in the net. But one of the gas fireballs made, like, a little hole in, like, the cliff face wall. So Jason Momoa and Jack Black are like, we need to clench together. We need to, like, bro sandwich. So they friggin' 69 one another in terms of positioning. And then they, like, clench as tight as they possibly can to fit through the hole. And then, like, they fit through the hole. Like, they made it. Everything is a-okay. The gas blow up the net and, like, everything is a-okay. They're home free, they land, and they're gonna, like, figure out the way to the Woodland Mansion that they just know the way to, because I guess Jack Black just knows where a Woodland Mansion is in general. But yeah, it is extremely intimate. It's like, we need to get tighter. I still feel void space. We have to get tighter. And they friggin' 69 one another as hard as they possibly can to fit through that hole, because of just how dang tight it is. And in the meantime, the other group of the sister and the landlord are like, hey, we need to figure out how to get to the Woodland Mansion to be able to meet up with the others. And the cartographer that would be able to sell them a Woodland Mansion map is on a boat, not even rowing away. He's just kind of, you know, typical villager arms crossed, kind of nudging the paddle sometimes. He can't get very far. He's very much just kind of drifting away. And the sister's like, oh, I'll be like Henry and figure out how to make something. I'll make a boat. And she digs up like a block and puts it down, and it just makes a block floating in the water. And the villager laughs at her, like, aha, you've been thwarted. You can't reach me after all. Even though, like, wouldn't he want to trade? Wouldn't the villagers want to trade and, like, share maps and stuff like that? So I don't know why he's happy about the situation where she can't reach him. And then they just give up because apparently they don't know how to swim. And this is just, like, never established. They're like, oh, he's just very slowly drifting towards, like, this other surface. He's basically along another wall. They can just go off the pier, go around, and still interact with him. Or just, like, swim. Or clearly learn from having placed down that block and just, like, bridge over to him. But they don't do any of that. And they are just like, alright, I guess we can't go to the Woodland Mansion. Let's, and they just don't exist for, like, the next several parts of the movie. They just kind of show up towards the end where they built, like, a mushroom house, like, around the place where the big battle has to take place. So, just ignore, like, the sister and the landlady. They're not gonna be in the plot for a while. Oh, and I almost forgot that there was, like, an argument that happened between Henry and his sister, like, while they were in the village, where Jack Black is like, oh, maybe he'd really like it here if he's such a creative guy with the stuff that he makes. And his sister's like, well, I mean, maybe he should just stay here then. And Henry's like, yeah, well, maybe I should. And his sister's like, no, that's not what I meant. And this kind of argument that divides the characters that would usually be saved for, like, a late second act kind of thing in most stories is done, like, right at the beginning there and kind of drives them apart. So they have an argument and they are not agreeing about that. And yeah, there's that. So meanwhile, the Jack Black, Jason Momoa, and Henry plotline, they're gonna keep on going towards the Woodland Mansion. And there's the Redstone Mountain coming up, like the Redstone Mines in a mountain. And Jack Black says, well, we can either go over it or we can go through it. And he had established to Jason Momoa before, but that he had like a whole bunch of diamonds there. And so like Henry's like, we should just go whichever way is faster. Like, we want to get there faster because like my sister and the landlady are gonna be there as well. So we better get there with like better speed and stuff. And so you think that the better speed thing would be through anyway rather than over, but apparently over is like the faster way and like through is the slower way that like Jason Momoa coerces Jack Black into going because again, like he flashes the inside of his jacket showing the MacGuffin and Jack Black's like, we have to go through. And so they start going through the redstone mines and is like, yeah, this stuff is redstone. It conducts energy. You can make all sorts of stuff with this. I placed a bunch of booby traps down here at some point, but I don't remember where they are. And then Jason Momoa steps on one, and then he gets like shot in the ass by a bunch of friggin' chestnuts, it looks like, a whole bunch of times. And he happens to like run his head like right into a lever that also opens up like Jack Black's secret passage. And the whole booby traps thing is never done again. It's only done for like comedic effect for like Jason Momoa to get like shot a bunch of times, and then it's never utilized again in any way. They make it into the diamond stash, and then Jason Momoa is like, hell yeah, diamonds, and he starts like filling his pockets. And Henry's like, what the hell? I thought we were gonna go like the faster way. What is this side way for riches? And Jason Momoa is like, you know, kid, my life is actually really hard. I don't really have friends. My financial situation's really tough. Things just are generally really sucking for me. And Henry's just kind of like, oh. And just kind of accepts it then. And and then meanwhile in the Nether, the head honcho witch is like, all right, we're gonna send something through with a little bit more firepower. Let's send through like the big guy, whatever his name was. And the other piglins are like, oh, but it's not ready. He doesn't have a brain yet. And the witch is like, well, put a brain in him. And you'll and then send him through. And then off camera, they put a brain in him, whatever that means. And then they send him through, which implies that this was like a project that they were working on for a long time, and they were only the Great Hog, yes. So they pull their Great Hog, and which was presumably something that they'd been working on for a while, because only right up until this moment, like right at this moment, that it was able to get a brain. So this big like super weapon that's like their ultimate trump card they send through, and then they're like, oh, and then Jack Black, Jason Momoa, and Henry are like, oh, it's time to go. Let's hop onto like the minecart track and get out of here. So they start getting out of there with the minecart track while like the Great Hog is pursuing them, like zooming down the trail. And they're like zooming down the redstone tracks and stuff. And eventually the tracks just stop in the middle of Jack Black's creeper farm. So like the redstone boost tracks end. And his railroad just so happens to go through his creeper farm. Like, was he an idiot when he designed it? So like, you are just completely surrounded by creepers on all sides. Not only does it go through the creeper farm, but it's at the creeper farm that like the redstone boosters end, and it comes to like a grinding halt. And they are completely surrounded by creepers, completely by Jack Black's design at a standstill, because that's the way that he designed this. And now it works by like the first rules of the creepers again, where it's like they're never gonna actually try to like pursue and blow up. They're just kind of guys that hang out, and if you they might very slowly wander towards you, but if you touch them, then they'll blow up. It's following those rules again. So they get Jason Momoa to get out and start pushing the cart while the Great Hog is like coming on down, and they just, and as they're going down, they're like purposefully smacking some of the creepers to get them to just like start blowing up the Great Hog, even though like the thing is so dang massive that it would start blowing up creepers along the way anyway if it works by the rules of like, you touch me, I blow up. So I don't know why they even needed to touch the creepers to get them to blow up. And they just barely make it to like the redstone tracks in time and zoom out of there, while the Great Hog gets freaking blown sky high, and they emerge from like the cave on the redstone track as like the whole mine shaft just blows up like in a super dramatic fashion. And then that like super weapon that the bad guys had is just presumably eliminated. Like, so they don't have to worry about that anymore, it seems like. Yep, that's very much what it was like there. So, so they make it to the Woodland Mansion through the mine shaft, and or they're in front of the Woodland Mansion. And then Henry has more of a chance to kind of confront Jason Momoa, and Jason Momoa is like, yeah, I stole the MacGuffin from you at some point, which I still don't understand, because I thought Jason Momoa had it, like, the whole time since they got through the portal initially, like, after he first took it, and since he had, like, the half of it get shattered. So I don't know what this bit about stealing it was, like, if I wasn't paying enough attention to the movie, or what the heck was going on with that. Henry feels, like, really betrayed by him. And Jason Momoa is just like, you know, it's just really hard for me because I like this financial situation, and I just never really had any friends. And then Henry goes up to him and says, I was your friend. What do you mean I was your friend? They had just met each other, like, earlier that day. Henry had called him to offer him, like, 20 bucks or whatever he was offering him. Just to, like, cover for him as his guardian for inexplicable reasons. They had, like, a purely business kind of relationship on that front, where Henry was very much hiring him to be, like, the fall guy as his guardian, I guess, or something or other. And then they just found themselves in this world together. And Jason Momoa literally did something that could potentially kill Henry. They had the elytras on that Jason Momoa didn't trust would work. So he pushed Henry off, which would have been to his death if they didn't work. So that was literally, like, potential attempted murder is what that was. And yet Henry just completely forgets about that, and forgets about the fact that he's just the guy that's along there because he offered him like 20 bucks or something. And he goes, I was your friend. And then Jason Momoa seems to, like, really stir with that, like, god damn, maybe Henry really was my friend, you know, and starts to, like, kind of rethink his ways. And I don't quite get it. Like, his ultimate bromance is with Jack Black, because he talks to him about, like, wanting to have friends his age and stuff like that. Jason Momoa tries to kill an autistic kid and gaslights said kid after it fails. Well, it's more like the kid is gaslighting him, which doesn't make any sense. Where it's like, I was your friend. Like, you'd think that it would be like the other way around if there was gaslighting stuff going on. I don't get it. So then, like, Henry gets back the artifact after, like, Jason Momoa, like, hands it back to him. Yeah, I guess it's the Ouroboros of gaslighting. He hands it back to Henry, and then they're gonna go into the Woodland Mansion that are full of, like, all the pillagers, evokers, whatever the hell they are. And they're like, all right, what could be a plan that could work here? And Henry is like, here's a plan that's just crazy enough to work. And then all of a sudden, Jason Momoa, like, Jack Black, those two get instruments. Jack Black gets, like, a saxophone, and I forget what Jason Momoa got. And they had on, like, was it, like, friggin' sombreros or something? And they play all the evokers like a tune. And I didn't think that this was real at first. I thought that when Henry said, like, here's a plan that might just be crazy enough to work, I thought that this was, like, in his headspace, because they wouldn't actually do that. But it took me a little bit to realize that this was actually real. So it just jump cut to, like, they're in the Woodland Mansion now. There's a bunch of evokers that have, like, just surrounded, like, Jason Momoa and Jack Black, and are just watching them do a freaking serenade or whatever the hell they're doing, while Henry is able to sneak in. So I guess that just works until a couple of evokers see him, and he makes a beeline for it, and he closes the door, and they don't know how to use the door. They put, like, a couple axes through the door for dramatic effect. But then, like, he's in the treasure room. He made it. Like, he's fine, and they're not going to be able to get through that door. And meanwhile, the diversion that was going on with Jack Black and Jason Momoa doesn't last forever. And the evokers put them into, like, a boxing ring so that they can have, like, the whole scene with the chicken jockey and the fight and stuff like that. That's where that scene comes in, is in the Woodland Mansion. So Henry's looking through the chests and stuff in this Woodland Mansion, while Jason Momoa and Jack Black are having this comedic fight scene where, like, a chicken, like, Jack Black is all tied up. Jason Momoa is free because, like, they want him to fight what they bring out. They bring out a chicken, and then, like, the crate comes down and drops, like, a zombie on it. The baby zombie. And then Jack Black and the entire audience in the theater is like, chicken jockey, and they start applauding in my theater. And my little cousin that was on, like, the other extreme end from me, he was saying that there was this one girl sitting next to him that was, like, watching the movie on her own, like she wasn't part of a group. And so all the other instances where the audience was clapping, she didn't. But he said that was the one instance where she joined in the applause, was chicken jockey. She joined in the applause, and like the whole audience just erupted. Like, with the people that were the loudest definitely being like all the people that went in there in suits and stuff, you know. Yeah, Jack Black is tied up till he decides he no longer wishes to be bound. So then we have like a comedic fight sequence between Jason Momoa and the chicken jockey that goes on for like a decent amount of time. And then Jack Black eventually decides he doesn't want to be tied up anymore, so he's not tied up anymore, and he saves Jason Momoa. Meanwhile, Henry's looking through like all the chests with all sorts of stuff, and then the very last one that he checks is the one that is literally glowing, and he finds the earth crystal or whatever the heck, and then he immediately slots it into like the MacGuffin, which like, you know, gets the portal reactivated, and everything is like, they have the thing, they can leave back to the real world now. And before this point, when Jack Black is like going over his plan for infiltrating the Woodland Mansion, he's like, there's Endermen on the top floor, whatever you do, don't look them in the eyes. So Henry looks around and looks one in the eyes, and rather than the Enderman immediately like being mad and teleporting onto him to attack him, it puts him through like a friggin' acid trip where he sees like his allies with like glowy Endermen into Herobrine like eyes, where they're kind of asking if he's even good enough, or questioning like if they even like him, you know, stuff like that. Just making him question his self-confidence, it seems like. And this never comes into play because he never actually, like, you'd think from there, after he's being shown all these dreamscape visions where the characters are saying he's useless and he's not good enough for them, that he would start to harbor some of these feelings and doubt and start to distrust his allies. Nope, that never happens. So he has like this trippy acid sequence that literally does nothing. And then after the trip is through, he decides that like he's gonna fight this Enderman because the Enderman wants to fight him. So he's going to use like this axe that he found, this diamond axe in one of the chests. And he fights literally just by just back and forth. And the Enderman just keeps on teleporting into his strikes. It doesn't even teleport behind him. And like, it's one of those sequences where it's so obvious like what the actor was doing on set, and them just like editing the CGI around that to teleport the Enderman perfectly into his swings. Like, you know those movies where you watch where someone like interacts with like a CGI animal and it's like blatantly obvious that like the actor was just reaching out to like open air, there's nothing there, and just pretending that something is there, and then like the CGI is just made around their acting? That is like the most obvious instance I think I've ever seen of that, where this actor on set is just like swinging around, and the animators animate it so that like the Enderman was perfectly teleporting into his swings every time, and then the Enderman dies and he gets an Ender Pearl, which he now knows how to use. So then he's like, well, it's time to go like meet up with my friends. So he digs through the floor and lands in the ring, and like the chicken jockey is defeated now, and they are completely surrounded by evokers that are presumably not going to be able to let them out of there. Like, they are completely surrounded in this boxing ring here, and it's seemingly gonna be like really hard for them to get out of there. But they just decide that they want out of there, so the movie jump cuts to them going out the front door, even though they were just surrounded like a second ago. So it suddenly jump cuts, they're going out the front door, and there's like evokers running behind them. But that is the least of their concerns, because now that they have MacGuffin 1 and MacGuffin 2, now that like MacGuffin 2 that was previously broken has now been replaced, the ultimate big bad, the Witch Bish, just shows up on the other side of the Woodland Mansion, like, oh hey, I'm here, I'm taking the MacGuffin from you. So right as they get MacGuffin 2, she takes MacGuffin 1, like literally probably less than a minute later after they got MacGuffin 2. Am I chasing like a shanty like Black Flag? What the hell is this? I not realize that these were a thing in the game. Not only does she show up there and use like magic powers to just like literally pull it towards her and get it, so I guess she can just like use the force, I guess, which she never does again for like the entire rest of it. But she also shows that she has a second one of those big guys, like the Great Hog. The thing where she was like, is it ready yet? No, it doesn't have a brain yet. Well, like, get it done. Making it sound like it was like some big ultimate weapon that they had to like work towards for a long time. She just has another one and is like, yeah, there's another one here. Keep them busy. I think it's a different one. I don't think it's the same one, because the first one got Michael Bayed by all the creepers. So unless it somehow survived that, I presume that it's like a different one. It's not really clear. I think she says something about it being a different one, but I don't remember because everything's a friggin' fever dream. So then she gets the MacGuffin, she heads out, she opens up the super portal by sending up the laser beam into the sky, and the whole army starts marching out. And meanwhile, like, Jack Black, Jason Momoa, and Henry have to, like, escape to survive. So Jason Momoa decides to do a selfless thing this time, and grabs Henry, throws him onto, like, one of the, like, gas chariot things, and then Jack Black's like, ooh, that's a great idea, slime block, and he puts down a slime block, and he bounces off of it to get onto the thing as well. And then, like, presumably you'd think, like, Jason Momoa would just, like, follow suit, like, jump off that slime block, get onto there. But, like, he doesn't, and he starts giving a speech about how, like, the characters need to remember him and, like, his noble sacrifice and, like, make a song about him and make it, like, metal and rad. And while he's talking about this, like, another gas chariot thing, like, gets in his way anyway, which is presumably the reason why, like, he isn't able to, like, jump, because there's, like, something else blocking his way. But, I mean, why can't he jump onto that? Is it because there's, like, piglins in the way? But, like, he threw the small child onto one that already had piglins on it that, like, I think he knocked off or something like that by Henry landing on there, or Henry pushed them off or something like that. And now this grown-ass muscular man can't just jump onto one and, like, knock them off or something like that. So he completely unnecessarily sacrifices himself as, like, these piglins are putting down TNT and stuff, and he's fighting them off and, like, throwing some of them off with, like, his retro arcade game moves. And then, like, Jack Black and Henry make it out of there, while Jason Momoa, like, dramatically explodes in the background, seemingly dying, sacrificing himself so that they could live and stuff. And they're like, no, Jason Momoa! And, I think at some point Henry gets knocked out, I don't remember how, and, like, they fly the ghast to go meet up with the sister and the landlord, that I guess they just somehow know where they are. Yeah, they literally do just pull it out of nowhere there. Because, like, Henry suddenly wakes up in, like, a mushroom house near, like, the beginning area that the sister and the landlord had just made, I guess. And at one point, like, while all this stuff was going on, they had found Dennis, Steve's wolf, that had just reverted to being, like, hostile again and normal and stuff, instead of being, like, tamed. So it comes up to them being all hostile as they're just, like, merrily chatting away, because they've figured out that they're, like, super combat pros now. So they're just wandering through the area at night, no worries, as they're, like, smacking a zombie back and forth while they're having, like, a casual conversation about Henry and stuff, and, like, being there to support him and all that, and, like, allow him to be creative and stuff. So when they see this feral wolf approach, they pick up a bone that's on the ground, which I don't know how that was on the ground, because they just beat the shit out of a zombie, not a skeleton. But there just so happens to be a bone on the ground, like, right there, and the landlady just has the idea on the spot of, like, hey, I should pick up this bone and try feeding it to, like, this clearly feral wolf. The wolf gets, like, happy, the wolf gets tamed, gets a collar again, and it says Dennis, and they're like, Dennis? Oh, like Steve's dog, you must be that Dennis. And then it's just never really used in the plot again, apart from, like, I guess Steve being happy that he's reunited with Dennis when they make it to, like, the mushroom house there, and Henry immediately reconciles with his sister about the argument that they had before. There's, like, no more tension that happens with that. Also, the mushroom just looks like solid red walls, and somebody stuck these massive white wads of gum on there. Like, the dots that come with the mushrooms in Minecraft are not, like, part of the wall. It's not like a flat surface where that's part of the wall. No, it's like a 3D aspect that's, like, sticking out. Like, they are just massive wads of gum that are just, like, sticking out. I found it extremely jarring. And then they're like, all right, well, all the baddies are coming through the portal from the nether and are gonna try to ravage this world. And they had never established saving this world as being, like, a key thing that they want to do. Like, they have well, I guess they need the MacGuffin still. So they need to go get the MacGuffin and, like, save the day anyway. So Jack Black is like, all right, we need to mine for materials and we have to craft. It's time we mine craft. And so, like, there's a little bit of argument about, like, the name. And then they're like, nah, we just gotta rush. We gotta do this fast. And while this army has been marched through this portal, like, this entire time, like, while this has been going on, there's like a whole nother sequence of like time passing by where it's like they're crafting shit. Jack Black is in the mines and he's mining diamonds. And like, this is something that you would think would be like a time consuming process. But I guess they're just bringing the whole army through the portal like so insanely, painfully slowly that they just had time to do all of this for some reason. Like, I don't get it. Like, they have time to do a montage of mining and crafting to like an unparalleled degree. Like, they literally go back to Jack Black's stash from earlier in that village where he has a shit ton of materials already anyway. Can they just not craft with the materials that are there? They need to go mining as well. So they go fuck off doing that for who knows how long. And the horde just takes like, yeah, I guess then. The horde just takes however long. They don't even start truly marching into the overworld. They just kind of get all their forces together on the other side. And then they're like, all right, now we're going to start marching forward at the time that the heroes are ready. So the heroes come up to like this big open battlefield gosh dang it, to like face off here. And they put down a bunch of iron blocks to make iron golems. And like the head honcho iron golem, they, instead of putting a pumpkin, they put like these boots of swiftness that I guess are from like Minecraft dungeons or something like that. And it becomes like a super golem that has like super speed boots and stuff. And the golems start marching right up to the piglin army. And like you have like these two armies that are about to like face off with one another. And the witch there is like, oh, you fools. Don't you know that iron golems only aggro if they're attacked first, like if you do something to piss them off? Like, they're docile otherwise. I don't know how she would know that if they don't know all that much about the overworld, if like portals to the overworld are like a pretty new thing. And like, I don't get it. But apparently she somehow knows that, and then another piglin like immediately like arrows one of them, and then the iron golems start going to town on the piglin army. And then it's like a big CGI army fight of like piglins versus iron golems. And Henry gets in there with his tater tot launcher and is going to town on people. His sister is going to town on people with like a sword that she crafted because she's just like a combat pro. The Great Hog, apparently there's a third one. Like, either it's the same one that keeps on surviving and is somehow able to like traverse the entire world to like an insane speed and just like never has any damage from the explosions, or they just have three of them and there's a third one now, despite it being like a seemingly like a one-off kind of super weapon kind of thing. So they're struggling to take on like the Great Hog here. And the sister is having like a 1v1 match with the Great Hog. And then the landlord is like, hey, here's my contribution to this plot. After I figured out that I could tame Dennis, I went around like taming a whole shit ton of wolves. And she just unleashes the whole wolf army that now joins into like the CGI mess that only seemed to attack the Great Hog in that scene, and then I don't remember ever seeing them in like the later parts of the fight ever again. I only remember seeing like the iron golems and the piglins after that. It could be that I wasn't paying enough attention, but it seems like it's just used to get like the advantage on the Great Hog, and that isn't even the thing that like kills him. Like it's very, very odd. And then meanwhile, Jack Black goes to have like a 1v1 match with the witch bish there. And like he's clad in full diamond armor and it looks super ridiculous. Like that gave me a decent few laughs seeing him in like the full Minecraft like diamond armor there, which did not include the pants. There was like chest guard, there was helmet, and there were shoes. He did not have leggings. Like maybe they couldn't figure out how to make it work there. Yeah, literally like the shittiest looking cosplay is what it looked like. It was certainly something. It did not at all fit. It was very, very weird looking. It was certainly quite the sight there. I don't really want to go into that cave. So he has a 1v1 and he defeats her. even though like she established before that she could pull things closer to her, so she could have just like taken away his sword or something like that. You know, we're never gonna use that again. Only when she needed to like yoink the MacGuffin out from under people. And then Henry, being like the creative person he is, he loads the Ender Pearl into like his tater tot gun and shoots it up to the top of the tower. And like he goes to grab the MacGuffin, and I think that there's like some explosion that happens and he falls. And then Jason Momoa shows up. He's still alive. He's hijacked one of the gas chariots and like catches Henry. And it's never explained how exactly he lived, but like he lived and he's here and saving the day now. And they got the MacGuffin, and now that that MacGuffin has gotten, all the netherwort that was sprouting around the area of the portal that let the piglins survive out in the overworld without getting zombified, that's going away, and now all of them are getting zombified slowly. Even though there are like little piglins with like netherwort lanterns that they have around that has been shown previously in the movie to work just fine towards like not letting people get zombified, but apparently doesn't work anymore. Like the little piglins don't seem to be getting zombified, but like the head honcho witch that they are literally right beside is slowly getting zombified and is defeated now, so I don't know how the heck that works. And in a there wasn't a lot of moments in the movie that I thought were genuinely funny for the right reasons. Here's one that I did think was genuinely funny for like the way that the writers intended. She's being defeated and is all weak, and says to Jack Black like, "Oh, come here, I need to tell you something." And Jack Black's like, "Do you have a knife that you're gonna try to stab me with at the last second?" She's like, "No, I'm too weak." And he starts coming towards her, and she pulls out a knife and tries to stab him, and he smacks it out of her hand. And then he's like, "Really?" And starts walking away. And she's like, "No, come back. There's actually something that I need to tell you." And he's like, "Do you have another knife?" No. Like, come close. It's something that you need to actually know about you. And he comes close, and she pulls out another knife, and he smacks it away again. That one, like, genuinely got me. That one I thought was actually kind of funny. That I thought was genuinely a good gag. And she's like, "Please come back. I definitely don't have a third knife. It was worth a try." And then she dies, and then the little piglins just don't really know what to do. And then, like, the day is saved, and the heroes decide that they're gonna go back to, like, the real world again, but Jack Black, he wants to stay behind because there's still, like, a few things that he wants to build. Jason Momoa is like, "Man, it'd be really cool to have you in the real world, because I'd really like to have a friend my age, and you're just like such a cool guy. We really bonded during this whole adventure." And I've been streaming for like an hour 20 minutes. Me describing the movie is basically the length of the movie because it's just so ridiculous here. And he's like, "Well, I kind of want to stick around here because there's still some things I want to build." And then Henry's sister is like, "Well, we could use some of that creativity in the real world." And he's like, "Nah, fuck it, I'm gonna go through." Also, wait, before that even happens, before he decided he was gonna go to the real world, he decided that he was going to, like, give Dennis to, like, the landlord, because she had, like, a side gig in, like, a petting zoo that she would deliver to people. Like, she would take animals with her in her car, and I guess out of nowhere, this was learned about off camera, and Jack Black, also off camera, decided that it would be best for Dennis to go with her, this person that he barely knows, because she was part of the team that he was not with for like the majority of this plot. So this random stranger he wants to give Dennis because it'll probably help her on wheels petting zoo business. And it's like a super tearful goodbye with Dennis, and like a villager shedding a tear. Yeah, it's that. That's another thing that I'll get back to. And then he just ends up going through the portal to, like, the real world anyway. And him channeling his creativity in the real world is him, like, rebranding Jason Momoa's business from, like, Game Over to Overworld is, like, the new name of the business. Overworld something. Overworld Games? I don't know. Something along those lines. They make their own arcade, like, fighting beat-em-up video game where it features, like, all of the main cast, like, beating up piglins, and it's, like, an arcade cabinet, and it's such a hit. People are, like, rushing into the arcade. Jason Momoa and Jack Black are, like, singing songs to, like, a full crowd in this tiny little shop, and are just, like, really hitting it off. The sister decides to open a martial arts business? Like, she was working in the potato chip factory before, but I guess from the adventure, she just finds out that she's like a secret 9th degree black belt. And so she opens a martial arts business where she shows people how to beat the shit out of people dressed as piglins for some reason. So not even applicable martial arts to the real world. So I don't get it. And then the landlord is said to like give up on like the whole real estate business and just pursue, I forget what she even pursued. Like, was it her petting zoo thing that really took off? I don't even remember. And then like Henry keeps on going to school. He's got a working jetpack now, not because the plot showed him like how to really channel his creativity. Because again, he could have made like a fully functional jetpack before. The only reason why it didn't work wasn't because of some flaw to his character he needed to go through the story in order to like improve and like better himself as a character. No, it was because some random students like snipped the wires. It would have worked before the adventure happened. It would have worked after the adventure happened. So he has a functional jetpack and he just like comes to school in the jetpack. And now all of a sudden, instead of bullying him, like everybody loves him. And they're like, whoa, that's so cool. Can you tell me all about that? Everyone is like surrounding him because he's like the popular kid now. Because that just kind of happened. And that's just kind of how the movie ends. Like, it is so extremely pointless. There is basically no character development here. The only character development that I could make an argument for is maybe Jason Momoa, where it's he's not willing to like sacrifice other people as much. Like, he's willing to put himself in the position to be sacrificed rather than putting someone else in the position to be sacrificed. But that only stemmed from Henry saying once, "You were my friend." And Jason Momoa changing his entire character like that and deciding like, I'm gonna be the one to be sacrificed, not like the child is to be sacrificed. And that doesn't really feel like a character development kind of thing. And the whole like him valuing having friends, like that is something that he wanted like from the beginning, so that didn't really change. Jack Black wanting to have like more friends than just like Dennis. We never really see like a strong desire and friendship with him, but during the bromance with Jason Momoa, he's like, you know what, I think I do kind of like this. But you never really see him questioning himself and like, do I really want to like go have more social connections, or do I just want to like be on my own / with a wolf like Dennis or something like that. So fun fact, before the movie had any trailers, everything I learned about it left me confused, going, what is this movie even about? And I still have this question after watching it. Yeah, that's what I don't understand either. And then during the course of it, like, they're right at the beginning of the movie, after they open the portal and they go through the Minecraft world, there's a villager that is just like so far away from like the actual village in question that was just like hiding behind a tree and like goes through the portal and like goes into the real world and gets hit by the principal's car, the one that was going through like that one that had gone through that divorce and stuff. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I hit with my car. Like, you've got something so weird going on with your head here. Like, it's so square and stuff. You know, I can't really afford to, you know, compensate you for hitting you with my car or something like that. Or I don't really want to go through insurance, whatever the heck the thing was. Can I just treat you to dinner? So, usually when there's like a comedic B plot going on in like some sort of a TV show or a movie, it's usually tied into the main plot in some way, eventually. This never is. This B plot of the romance with the villager, the heroes of the story never find out that it was a thing going on. It is two completely separate things going on that never have a moment where they come together, where even the characters like go back to school and are like, what the heck? What is a villager doing here? There's nothing like that. They are completely separate. It never comes into play in any way. It is literally just there for like comedic purposes. And I thought that if they were gonna have like this little B plot, that it would go across like different stages across the story. It is just being hit with the car, and then like all the scenes that come up with it from there are just like her and the villager in a restaurant. Like, I think that there's 2 scenes of them in the restaurant. It's like, maybe you'd think that there'd be like one scene in the restaurant and one scene like outside of the restaurant. No, it's just one scene hit with the car and introduction, 2 scenes at like random intervals like later on in the movie where they're having this like romantic dinner and he's just going, and she's like, wow, you're so good at listening. It takes such a good level of emotional maturity to like listen like that. And like having like a whole lot of sexual innuendos with him and stuff like that. And that's what happens throughout the plot. There is a thing during the credits that kind of closes out, but it's still not tied to the main story. The main characters never find out about this. You can remove that entire B plot and it changes nothing about the story. You can remove the realtor completely and it changes nothing about the story. She's just there for like forced racial stereotyping diversity. Like she serves literally no purpose in the plot. There's so much that you can take out. You never even see what Jason Momoa does with the diamonds. They never come up again. He shoves them in his pockets, and then in that one scene, you never see them spilling out of his pockets. You never see him like not able to like do the selfless thing if only he like gets rid of this weight of like the diamonds in his pockets. They basically just go into like his inventory, the Shadow Realm, the moment that he puts them in there, and then they never come up again. It's so weird. The entire B plot happens in the span of 24 hours and they get married the next day. Yep. It is so weird. It exists to have Matt Berry voice a villager and have his fiance speak villager. Oh my god, it's fucking horrifying. It was certainly something. The moment there was a speak during like the credit sequence there, I will admit that got me. That got me. The whole bit about like, you're not gonna try to stab me with a knife when I get close, right? No, I'm not gonna do that. And then doing that multiple times. That moment got me. What other moments would I have genuinely laughed about that like the filmmakers actually wanted like the audience to laugh at? I don't know. Yeah, I don't like the art style, and it's worse if you watch it in the style that I did. So what I found out about this 270-degree screening is it's not like you have like a wide screen kind of surrounding you. It's a normal theater. Like so it's just like, you know, a typical box kind of theater where it's like the screen here completely flat and then like flat walls, 90-degree angles, like a perfect square rectangle kind of thing. Except they mounted projectors to like the left and right sides as well and are just like projecting it onto the walls. So you have like a 90-degree cutoff where it's like the main screen there and then the side stuff over here. It wasn't always playing the side stuff. Like pretty much anything in like the real world didn't have like any side stuff there. It was just a lot of stuff with like the overworld. And even then, some of the Minecraft stuff, what that just popped in there, didn't always have stuff on the side. But when it did, half the time it looked like an AI generated like an extension of the existing stuff. Some of the time it looked like an early render of like some of the piglins or something like that would have been off camera that are just like put in for that version that are now on camera with that extra wide screening. Like they didn't have anywhere near the same amount of detail, the piglin details compared to like the main screen. Like it looked like an early render before they put on things like the hair. Like they just looked kind of you know, more bare skin than usual. They didn't have like any threads of hair or anything like that and just looked like the kind of thing that you would see in a behind the scenes of like, it's not quite 100% fully polished yet for like the final look that we want. And sometimes it just looked like AI generated extension kind of slop. A lot of the times, if like an actor was off screen or something like that compared to like the normal screen, it seemed like it was actually the real actor rather than like, you know, looking like it was AI or anything like that. But it kind of broke the immersion and like, it goes from cut to cut and things don't perfectly carry over. Like, an example that I use of this is, one of the Wolverine movies. I forget which one. There was like a Wolverine movie where he goes and fights like samurais or something like that and a big samurai robot. I don't know what the heck. But I remember there's a scene where like this one villain bitch is walking up to this one guy and she takes off one of her gloves and then it cuts over to the guy and he's like, you. And then it cuts back over to her and she's like, me. And she takes off the same glove a second time. Like those kinds of inconsistencies. Or if like, just making this up on the spot. If there's a movie where like a character is patting someone else on the back or puts their arm around them, and then it cuts to like another shot just from another angle, and their arm is like down at their side, stuff like that. There is a lot more noticeable kind of stuff like that as you're seeing like the stuff that would normally be a little bit off camera. Like there would be a character that's like over here, and then they kind of teleport their position. I don't remember the exact specific examples of what was going on, but I remember it happened like in a couple instances when Steve was first showing off like his little workshop with all his goodies and stuff like that in the village, where it's like he'd be facing one way and standing in this part of the room, and then like you see him on like the side of the shot on the side of the like theater room there, standing over here, and it's a little bit different, and then it cuts over and then he's like back over here, and it's just kind of like weird and makes it feel very quite jarring. It's odd. So, that's so genuinely horrendous. I have no idea how the script was even greenlit. It's just word vomit. Yeah. There was one joke I liked. Are you finished? No, I think he's Swedish. Yeah, that one was actually pretty good too. That one was a good one. And like some of the bromance stuff with like Jack Black and Jason Momoa, I kind of liked that kind of stuff there, or the part where they 69'd. There was some pretty goofy stuff there with that. Was there other stuff that I genuinely liked? That made me genuinely laugh. I mean, there's like little one-offs where it's like, there's the joke when you consider the implications that make me laugh. Like when Henry's calling Jason Momoa and asking like, hey, can you pretend to be my uncle? And Jason Momoa says, sorry, I don't do that anymore. You know, stuff like that where it's like, it leads to inferences that you have to make that are genuinely kind of funny. Like little one-offs like that, little comments like that I thought were genuinely funny. But yeah, I don't know. It's 2:35 in the morning. I don't think I'm making any actual story progress on Assassin's Creed Valhalla tonight. I think this is just a stream of me going around getting viewpoints while I ramble about the Minecraft movie. Is what this very much is. Just an excuse for me to ramble about on the channel while I'm not just rambling about it. I'm making progress in one of my playthroughs. You know, this is what's going on here. Man, I just wish the real estate lady got actual characters and just fulfilling the screaming black lady stereotype. This was a needed rant. I couldn't not talk about it. Again, I usually don't talk about like a whole bunch of film stuff here. Like I'll give my general impressions. I usually won't take the time to do like a whole film review and go over stuff. But I just couldn't not. And again, like I was pretty busy today, what with like black belt testing that I was helping out with at Taekwondo from like 1 until 7 p.m. and then going and hanging out at the black belt volunteer dinner afterwards. So I got like a nice belly full of Korean food before going to the screening, and then I left before everybody else because I wanted to you know, make it to this. And we purposefully got like a late time for a couple reasons. One, so I could do all the stuff that I needed to with Taekwondo. And two, if it's late, then it's gonna be full of like a bunch of adults and not like screaming children. And that was very much the case. It was very much a bunch of people that looked like they were probably around my age. This is what it looked like. And, my goodness gracious. I'm glad that we got the audience that we did. It was definitely the most interactive I've ever seen the audience during like a film in my life. If ever the audience knew what was going to be said, like Minecraft or Flint and Steel, they would all just say it and then they'd all start applauding. Like, it was... I've never had an experience like that in a movie theater. Like, that was certainly something. What the hell is going on with this table? Blend in. Like, that was definitely an interesting experience with the audience and stuff like that. This is an exception because the movie is so bad I'm genuinely shocked about how high its ratings are given the quality. I clapped when I saw it. Hell yeah. Like, when I got back home here, so like, we sat through the credits to see if there was a post-credit sequence. There is a post-credit sequence. And, where Jack Black goes to like his old house and Steve meets Alex and stuff. This is what was going on there. So by the time that we got home, like, I dropped them off at home after midnight at that point. Because, like, 10 p.m. screening, and then, sitting through the movie that is, you know, a bit short of a couple hours, sitting through the credits, drive home, stuff like that. But, I mean, it also didn't start right at 10 p.m. because they ran, like, 20 minutes of ads. So, it may as well have been, like, 2 hours total overall, considering we were out there past midnight. So, considering that it's an hour 40-minute movie, I'm pretty sure it's an hour 41 minutes, and we got out of that 10 p.m. screening past midnight, I guess tells you that there is over 20 minutes worth of ads. So, I mean, you know, that's just theaters for you there. So, well, I just sent something flying. I don't even know what the heck I'm doing anymore here. So, like, we got out of there. I dropped off the kids at home. I came back here. After Mortis and I were talking about the Minecraft movie earlier today, and, like, you were telling me all these things about, like, what a fever dream it is, and I had said that if there's anything in my life that Detective Pikachu Returns prepares me for, it's this, and you said that it was terrifyingly accurate to say that. I get what you mean, but I got home, I walked in the door, I grabbed some water, I went to DMs on my phone, and I just DM'd Mortis the word fuck. Yeah, me fuck after you got out of the theater. I completely understood everything. It is life-changingly bad. Like, it has probably got to be like the most corporate movie I think I've ever seen in my life. It was certainly something here. I don't understand. But like in a way that like I still got a kick out of it. I don't regret going and seeing it. My cousin's kiddos had like a lot of fun seeing it. We are gonna be talking about this for some time to come. I have no doubt. So you know, definitely not a regret seeing it from that perspective. But like, my god. And I knew that I could just ramble about this whenever, but I needed to do this when it was fresh in my mind. So I started the stream at like 12:30 or something. I mean, it's 2:40 right now. I've been streaming for an hour 40 minutes. So I started the stream at 1 a.m. then in that case. At 1 a.m. I started this stream, which is very late to be starting a stream because I know I can't like stream for that long because like it's 2:40 in the morning and it's like, yeah, I should very much get some sleep here pretty soon. And I made no actual story progress in Assassin's Creed Valhalla this stream. And when I cut this up into parts later, because it's just one discussion, this is going to be like one part. This is going to be part 69 of my Assassin's Creed Valhalla playthrough. And it's going to be like an hour 40 minutes long of just like the Minecraft movie discussion. Here's a little bit more progress. Let's go ahead and assign a skill. Just when I thought we were past the horribly awful video game movies, Minecraft comes up. Part 69, the Minecraft rant. Oh my god. It's time we mine and craft. I don't get it. The rules are whatever it has to be. It felt so much like things just did not flow naturally into one another. It felt more like a disconnected sequence of random events that just happened because they wanted to get this shit in there. Like the whole sequence with the villager romance plot that didn't tie into like the overall picture in any way. Even if it was gonna be like something comedic at the end, like, what, the principal's with a villager now? Shocked face. Not even something like that. It tied in literally no way. The main characters never knew it was a thing. The whole, like, brawl and chicken jockey and stuff like that in the Woodland Mansion, you can take that out of the plot and it wouldn't change anything. They just wanted to have, like, a scene where Jason Momoa fights a baby zombie chicken jockey. So that's just in there for, like, no reason. There's just, like, so much stuff. It felt like they went in with a checklist of these are the things that they want to happen in the movie. And they were gonna get all those things on the checklist in the movie, whether it was, like, natural or not, you know? Not planning on seeing it, but that was partly because I kept hearing the words blockbuster whenever the movie was brought up. Jason Momoa literally got his ass beat every scene. Yeah, literally every scene. It was insane. Getting, I assume, the shit kicked out of him in nearly every scene. I don't know what way I'm building my skill chart. I am in a panicked state here. Like, I got this adrenaline. It is so friggin' hard to find skills in this. This sounds kind of fun, actually. That doesn't consume anything in my inventory, does it? Hold R near a dead body to load it with explosive powder. Hold on just a second here. That actually sounds kind of fun. I don't know if there was anything that I was working towards that I'm, like, interfering with my old plans on. I'm just gonna go to, like, the explosive body thing, because that's kind of funny. I'll get that the next time that I level up here, I guess. So, yeah. At least this will speed things up with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, because it's like I can go right to the story objective, but if I need to ramble about other things there won't be as much opportunity for, I'll just ramble in the middle of story things. Does anyone actually care about, like, the story that's going on in Assassin's Creed Valhalla here? Because this is just a disconnected sequence of random events that the writers wanted to put in as well. They are very related in that sense. Like, I couldn't tell you the names of any of the characters from any of the subplots I've done so far in this game, I'm gonna be honest with you. The whole world of side quests and just go do, like, the little subplot line here to make friends there. Go do the subplot line here to make friends there. Go do the subplot line here to make friends there. So, like, you know, the story isn't gonna matter too much here anyway. Daily concept art. Also, just how the movie rips off Warcraft and does it so bad, I only noticed it because they made the villain look exactly like Gul'dan. I've probably seen the Warcraft movie a while back. I wouldn't really remember much about it. Like, now that's brought up, a big portal and guys coming through does sound familiar, admittedly. Why do I have, like, a smidge mapped out here, but, like, not the connection? Like, how does that work? How does that happen? Anyway. Guess I'll go back to Ravensthorpe. I do ideally want in Assassin's Creed Valhalla streams to do one of these little subplots start to finish. I'm not starting one at 2:45 in the morning. I want to go to bed. The existence of this stream is completely off the premise of I needed to talk about this. I couldn't not talk about it because what the hell? It is so cursed. I don't know what the heck is going on over here. So, like, apologies to anyone that wanted to tune into Assassin's Creed Valhalla content here. But, like, what? But, I mean, anyone that actually cares about Assassin's Creed Valhalla content could probably just, like, skip this part if they wanted and go right to part 70. This is what they could do. Genuinely the worst movie I have ever seen. I don't know if I would call it the worst movie that I've ever seen. If I'm thinking about, like, the worst movies I've ever seen just in general, there'd be the Minecraft movie, there would be Moonfall. What else is up there? Because I don't really see a massive ton of movies that I really think are shit, per se. There's a lot of movies that I see that's just like, oh yeah, that just kind of felt like generic content that I've seen, like, a bazillion of. Like a whole bunch of crap that, like, The Rock is constantly starring in, where it's like, yep, you tune into one of those, you know exactly what you're gonna get. It's just typical kind of stuff. It's not amazing, it's not bad, it's just kind of standard. You know, I'm using that as kind of an example here. But the amount of movies that I see and I genuinely think, wow, that was just, like, a terrible film. Like, I can name a lot of games that I think are terrible in, like, the gameplay department or the story department. Like, Fire Emblem Fates, fantastic in gameplay department for the most part, could use some improvement. Terrible in the story department. Detective Pikachu Returns, absolutely terrible in the story department. Like, holy crap. Like, video games are just, like, the media that I expose myself to the most. Like, I can name the most about video games. But I do tune into movie stuff from time to time, and I do like to enjoy a good movie here or there. But, you know, there's not as many that, like, stand out to me as, like, oh my god, this film is, like, actually amazing. Or, oh my god, this film is, like, the worst thing I've ever seen. I feel like most of the movies that I watch are just, like, par for the course. I need to watch, like, more amazing movies. Is what I need to do. But yeah, I'm struggling to think of movies that I think are actually just terrible films. Like, I can name films I think that there's flaws with, and like, that could have been a lot better if it was taken in a different way. But yeah, in terms of, like, genuinely terrible movies, I think the first ones that are going to come to mind are going to be, like, Minecraft and Moonfall. And I think Moonfall might well be worse, because, like, that one I feel like is closer to boring bad. Like, at least Minecraft, you're kind of laughing at the absurdity, sort of. I mean, I've heard tell of people, like, walking out in the middle of the theater, like, in the middle of the movie. And to be fair, like, with the, like, the whole disconnected sequence of events and, like, questioning, is this even super entertaining? I feel like I was also, like, semi-entertained by, like, my eagerness in anticipation for the next time that the audience is gonna know what's gonna be said and then, like, start applauding. You know, that kind of helped keep me a little bit more engaged in stuff. Beats out Thomas and the Magic Railroad for my least favorite movie. This movie isn't boring. It moves at the pace of TikTok. Yeah, it is very rapid fire. But, like, I don't think I've ever felt like... I don't know what's going on with the shadows and stuff over there. I don't think I've ever felt more like a movie lasted 20 minutes and 5 hours at the same time in my life. Like... It felt long from the perspective of it didn't feel like we were actually moving shit forward, but we were, at the same time, we were also moving shit forward so dang fast. It's just that there wasn't really substance, is what it was. Like, the main things were happening so fast, but also so slow, in the sense of, like, our main goal for, like, half of the plot is get the second half of the MacGuffin. And they do so much shit to get to the second half of the MacGuffin that just isn't really necessary. Like the whole boxing scene Or like we need to take the railroad through the creeper farm and get stuck there because it's poorly designed. Like all this stuff where it's like, if characters were actually smart in the case of like the creeper farm, or if you know, corporate execs didn't feel like we needed to put in like the friggin' chicken jockey scene and like the brawl and stuff like that that serves no purpose to the plot, then so much of it could be cut out. So it's like we are doing so little in that our only goal is get this casing that goes over our cube to activate the portal, and doing so much extra shit along the way that can just be cut out and it wouldn't actually change what's going on with the plot. But like the things that are going on with that other shit is very much like a TikTok reel of just like rapid fire engagement, engagement, engagement. Pay attention. Look at this. What's going on here? Whoa. But it's not actually interesting stuff that is doing things in the plot that you'd care about. Like there's basically no character development. We don't really get to see much in the way of like meaningful character interactions. So I think that's what kind of contributes to it feeling like the movie is both 20 minutes and 5 hours, you know? Like, by the time that we reached the end, I was asking myself, like, this is the end of the movie already? Like, it feels like we shouldn't be at that. Like, that was really fast. But at the same time, it felt like I'd been there, like, forever. It was a surreal experience, like, feeling that. None of it felt real. It was like a dream. The most consistent plot of the movie was the villager-human romance. Honestly, none of it feels real, but it is. This is a movie that exists. Like, it goes by so fast because it's just all the stuff in your face all the time, but it goes by so slow because all the stuff in your face all the time usually doesn't matter and can be cut out and then nothing changes about the plot. It is, again, like, I don't think that there's a better word to describe it than surreal. It is a very surreal experience. Like, if I didn't have a watch on and I didn't know, like, what the general runtime of that movie was going into it, I would have exited that theater having genuinely no sense of time for, like, how much time had actually passed. And usually when you say that, that usually means that that's, like, a good thing. Like, it invested you enough that you weren't paying attention to the time, and it's like, oh god, I was really taking on an adventure. But in this case, it's more so, not that I was, like, pulled into an adventure that I lost track of time. More so, there was just so many things happening, and also there were so many things happening, but, like, the overall plot was actually so little that it just made me lose track of, like, what time even was, because I didn't know how much time had passed when the movie did so much but achieved so little. There were so many things that happened, but in terms of what was achieved, it was, like, next to nothing. They got the second half of the MacGuffin, the first half of the MacGuffin was taken, they Minecraft, they do a battle, they get the full MacGuffin, the overworld is saved, and then they go back home. That's the plot, essentially. Like, there's no character development with Steve needing to give, like, the world a chance and being able to see that there is an opportunity for him to channel creativity in the real world after all. There's no real plot line with, like, Jason Momoa trying to, like change his, I guess there's, like, a slight bit of changing his character where it's, like, he's gonna start wanting to, like, sacrifice himself before others. Like, so that's the one part where you can say that there's, like, a little bit of difference. But in terms of, like, making friends and stuff like that, it's not like he goes from being like, oh, man, I totally want to be alone, to, like, wanting friends and wanting to be close to others, because, like, he wants that from the beginning. I guess he just doesn't see it because Henry was like, I thought you were my friend, or whatever the heck. There's nothing with, like, Henry's sister, with, letting Henry channel his creativity. It's not like he was writing in his notebook and she was like, no, don't do that stuff. You shouldn't be doing that. Focus on your other studies. So it's not like she had any character development of being less controlling or anything. There's a little bit of a talk with the realtor about, like, being able to own up to be a parent, but we don't actually see her, like, do any shit about that, so there's no, like, payoff about that, so there's no real character development. The realtor is just there to be, like, another character and, like, stereotype and diversity and stuff, I guess. She's the character that you could most easily take out of the story and it would affect nothing. And Henry, you would think that maybe there would be character development about him, like, being confident enough to channel his creativity and being able to think outside the box and stuff. But that's not the case, because the real world example that it uses to show his creativity is the jetpack, which the only reason why it didn't work before the adventure is because someone cut the wire. You're led to believe that it would have worked fine otherwise, and it therefore invalidates the reason to go on this adventure. It is not a return to a better life, like in the case of Henry, who is our main character. It is a return to a better life because, like, the realtor just, like, has things work out for her now. It's a better life for Jason Momoa, and I guess Jack Black, because Jack Black channeled his creativity to, like, fix Jason Momoa's business, and now Jason Momoa's business is fixed. And Henry's sister gets a better life because she just decides to, like, start a martial arts business, which, how the hell do you even afford that? You are two children that are moving to this place out of necessity because it's a cheap place to live, and you had, like, a job lined up, so presumably you'd be a little bit cash strapped and not have the finances needed to open a freaking business with your own building. It doesn't make any sense unless they just, like, maybe they were given some of Jack Black's diamonds and they sold that off, and then they got kind of loaded, and then they had, like, the freedom to open their own business or something. Then is that how it worked? Because the movie never says it. It is just very odd. Like, the more questions that you ask and try to answer, the more questions you get. It is baffling. Like, I don't get it. They Minecrafted over the dark portal and lived happily ever after. Yeah. I mean, I was about to say, like, how do I phrase it? Things go so dang slowly in terms of what actually happens, with so little shit happening during, like, the entire main plot of discover the thingamajig, take the thingamajig into the world. The thingamajig breaks. We need to get the other half of the thingamajig. We go get the second half of the thingamajig. The first half of the thingamajig is stolen. We go Minecraft, defeat the big bads, get the first half of the thingamajig, go back home. Like, that is essentially, like, the entire main plot. There is so little that actually happens that it feels like the entire opening sequence of Jack Black describing, I yearned for the mines, but I couldn't go in there. But then I remembered the mines in adulthood, like, when I was living my boring life. So I went into the mines as an adult, and then I found the thingamajig, and then I went into the world, and then I built all these houses, and then I dealt with the mobs, and then I learned how to deal with, like, the mobs and survive in this world, and then I befriended Dennis, and then Dennis and I became best buds, and then I built a bunch of stuff like Steve's world, and then I found the ruined portal, and then I used a flint and steel, and I went through to the nether, and then I got grabbed by, like, the big bads, and, like, they wanted to use the thingamabob for evil purposes, so I sent Dennis out to, like, my home to, like, go hide the MacGuffin. It feels like there is genuinely more stuff that happens in that intro sequence in terms of, like, actual events that happen, and just, like, the rapid fire, or this is the stuff that you need to know going into the main plot. It feels like there's more that happens during that than the actual main plot. And if that's what is going on in your plot, then you have a problem. Like, the whole intro explanation, this is the stuff really quickly that you have to know going into, like, the main story. There's more stuff that happens in that than the actual main story, in terms of things that actually matter. It's baffling how you could write a story like that. I don't get it. There is so much exposition, especially at the beginning, more so than the entire rest of the plot. Man. Concept art for the movie might have been a lot better to go with than whatever the actual movie is. I don't know what the concept art is like, but did it look more promising? Honestly, I don't think it was forced diversity, and I hate that term because it's used as an excuse by racists a lot. Yeah, I agree. If anything, she was there to be haha funny reaction, but it went around to being a racist. Jack Black crashes the local economy with Minecraft diamonds. I guess so. So much of the movie is exposition, and then they do the thing they just exposited about. Then Jack Black makes a joke, and Jason Momoa gets slapped. Yep. And that's just the loop. That's how it goes around across the entire thing. Yeah, I get you with that. But it's funny you say Jake Black. Tired, can't type. I'm tired and can't articulate my thoughts. It's about to become 3 a.m. Concept art looked more like Minecraft, less main characters. Ender Dragon was going to be involved. Oh, interesting. And I guess Jack Black's already fought the Ender Dragon if if he has elytras. But wait, if he fought the Ender Dragon, that means that he needed to go to the Nether to get like blaze powder stuff. Unless he got like the 1 in a trillion seed or something like that, where the portal was pre-lit and he just stumbled upon it without needing a Eye of Ender to like show him the way or something like that. Honestly, the upcoming Netflix animated series looks promising of something else. I assume here, don't think about it. The movie has no logic. Yeah. True. Sometimes it seemed like it wanted to like stick really close to like Minecraft rules. Like breaking or fall with a bucket, but then like the water didn't linger around. Or like the whole trap, like the pistons being able to block out the lava, stuff like that. Or iron golems not attacking unless like you attack first, do something to aggro them. There were times that it felt like it wanted to stick like extremely accurate to actual Minecraft rules, or like the moment you touch the redstone track, you just zoom. And other times where it just like threw that completely out the window, like the fact that Jack Black has elytra, the whole not being able to decide how the heck creepers work, stuff like that. It's just, it is so very odd. It only wanted to stick close to Minecraft rules if that's the way that they want to for the plot, and then it'll do whatever other rules it wants to if it wants to do that for the plot. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Netflix is making a Minecraft animated series. Oh, interesting. Really odd that they made a Minecraft movie, but it's not really about Minecraft at all. That's kind of what it feels like. It's about Minecraft insofar as they have to mine and craft at the end. Otherwise, it's just kind of a world that they interact with, and then you'd argue that it's more so about the mobs in Minecraft than it is about Minecraft. Like the whole being able to
Laughing at me?
build stuff and, you know, channel your creativity and all that doesn't come into play as much as I thought it would be. Especially when you consider that, like, the main theme of the plot is supposed to be about, like, being creative and all that. But I feel like if you want a similar movie that actually does a good job of, like, its main message of being creative and all that, go watch the friggin' Lego movie! That, like, I wasn't a big fan of the Lego movie too, but the first Lego movie actually did a good job at not just being, like, a Lego advertisement, like it very clearly was at the end, where it's, like, you know, all the Lego sets you're playing with, but also just having, like, a genuinely good, well-told lesson, where it's, like, Emmett's not the special, but it's like, we can all be the special. We can all channel our creativity and, like, not follow the instructions and be special in our own ways. Like, it actually did, like, meaningful stuff. The Lego movie is actually a good film, you know, and is a good example of, like, channel your creativity, be the special. And the Minecraft movie just kind of wants you to believe that's all about channeling your creativity, but it really feels like it isn't, because it doesn't actually make efforts towards that front of, like, delivering that message. So it's just weird. The water bucket scene existed to explain why Jason Momoa was live at the end, because he says that's how he lived. Did he? I guess I didn't hear enough, or maybe the audience was applauding or something like that. Yeah, they never actually use the Minecraft IP. Yeah, they just kind of take the mobs more so, is what they do. The mobs and the items. And they use the mechanics like twice. Most you get out of the Minecraft sandbox aspect is the intro of the movie that's just Jack Black talking. Yeah, just Jack Black giving, like, the exposition intro kind of stuff. Like, hey, this is the lead up to, like, the plot that you're actually going to experience. Why is the W icon so jumpy? Why doesn't it just go across smoothly? I've been hearing that's the main comparison. Never saw the Lego movie. Really? I'd never actually heard people, like, compare it to the Lego movie. That's just a comparison that I naturally thought of, and I guess it makes sense for other people to compare it. Yeah, it's past 3 in the morning. I should probably call it a night here soon. Hope you enjoyed this stream of, like, not actually making any real progress through a game, but literally just sitting here for 2 hours talking about this stupid movie, because I just could not. Part of me was tempted to come home and just immediately go to bed, considering it was already, like, 1 in the morning by the time that I started this stream. But I needed to talk about this while it was fresh. And I've been going for longer than the length of the movie now. But it is just baffling. It is truly baffling. Just like the most corporate checklist. This is the stuff we're gonna get in the movie, so this is the stuff we're getting into the movie. Not at all related to, like, the IP in question to the degree that it should be. completely missing like its own message, not even being able to drive it home. Just kind of feeling like it's very loosely related to its main message. And like, if you go into it completely blind and not knowing that, oh, Minecraft, obviously the main message is going to be about channeling your creativity, I wouldn't be surprised if for a lot of casual viewers, they go out of that wondering, what the hell was the main message even? You know, because it really just doesn't express it. So, and also when I got home, I checked out like Metacritic out of curiosity with this movie. I guess I closed my tab. Metacritic Minecraft movie. It's not as poor as I thought it would be, honestly. Like, let's see here. A Minecraft movie reviews. Like, it's not great by any means, but it's a lot better here than I thought it would be. So, whoops, didn't mean to do that. So, like, the critic ones, you know, a little bit under half, so, like, a whole bunch of stuff in the middle. It looks like there's more positive ones than blatantly negative ones, but a whole bunch of stuff in the middle ground that's, like, teetering towards the negative then. A lot of people seem to say it's so bad it's funny. But do they give it, like, positive reviews then? And that's... Why can't I scroll? Oh my god, it's being super laggy. Alright, well, whatever. And that can't just be because I have the game open. It's gotta be because, like, Windows Update is queued up. I swear, Windows gets laggier and laggier when it wants to restart. No Windows 11, please. Like, my computer gets so dang slow when it's waiting for an update, especially as I keep on putting it off. But, I mean, it's a bit more positive than negative here. Oh, it's being a bit less laggy now. Probably not a movie for everyone, but if you played the game and you are looking for a movie that does not take itself too seriously, it's still a great time. But it's still a great time, and this is a great movie to see. It feels like a small miracle that the resulting film is so funny, lively, and light on its feet. New York Magazine. Washington Post. The biggest surprise is that a Minecraft movie ends up feeling more necessary in an era of depreciating art appreciation. Are you shitting me, Washington Post? The biggest surprise is that a Minecraft movie ends up feeling more necessary in an era of depreciating art appreciation. So this is a necessary thing to come out because we live in an era that, like, art appreciation is depreciating. You're telling me this is art that should be appreciated? Like Garrett, this movie may be tacky and loud, but it also makes a great point. Does it? Great time. Gives it a 10 score. So, yeah. Completely what I expected. Absurd. Typical. I like it. The best thing I've watched lately. Completely lived up to expectations. I don't know if anyone could truly expect what ended up being. Alright, then a bunch more negative ones here. Yeah, even my scrolling is being so dang laggy. I'm gonna manual save this here. So I'm gonna do, and then, like, close things up. That'll make it a little bit less laggy, but as long as that Windows Update is queued up, it's gonna be super laggy. So maybe I should actually just, friggin' shut down my computer before I go to sleep here. You know what's funny about this stream? I actually rigged up my script before it started.
Bye, have a great time.
I actually got my script working before this stream because I thought I might, like, go fight guys, and then I didn't. But, like, things are working again. And surprisingly enough, when I needed to, like, rig up anti-micro again, the thing that takes my controller inputs and turns them into keyboard inputs, because, like, auto hotkey, I don't know how to read controller inputs, and auto hotkey is the thing that plays the sound effects. So, like, R and A with anti-micro is set to press the F12 button on my keyboard, and then when auto hotkey detects that I've hit F12, it plays a sound effect. Like, that's essentially how my script works. When I went to test that anti-micro was working, I was a little bit jump scared by the fact that a sound effect immediately played, because I hadn't opened auto hotkey yet. It turned out that I've just had this script open running in the background for who knows how long now, like weeks, I guess. Probably from that Bad to the Bone stream last time. I just had that running in the background, that script this whole time. That was just waiting for me to hit F12. I was ready to play a sound effect for however many weeks now, so a little bit of a jump scare just before starting this stream, so that's kind of funny. Yeah, let's see here. I don't know about anyone else, but I really don't think this movie was at all necessary. If anything, it's the most pointless movie to exist ever. This movie should have never been made. Yeah, I mean, certainly something. And as is usually the case when I play, like, the Assassin's Creed stuff around here, I I usually talk about like other life stuff going on, and there's like other things that have happened in life that I can talk about since this happened. Like how The Last of Us Part 2 playthrough is going on so far. With me recently starring that. Stuff with Job Hunt, or even stuff with like this testing earlier today, and the fact that it seems like I might have like screwed up my right elbow in some way, and I don't know how. And it's been giving me a little bit of pain on and off today. But it's 3:10 in the morning. I'm tired as heck. I said the things I really wanted to say. I can save these other stories for another time. I'm glad it was, because this was a life-changing experience. It really was, wasn't it? Man. Minecraft gonna be an example of how to not adapt a video game. Wait, I think I saved there because I wanted to quit. I just wanted to read a little bit of these reviews without it lagging as much. Yeah. Hold on. I'm curious. How does Metacritic work? Can you click like the green? Um, how do you pause the reviews? I'm curious. The movie was supposed to be the worst movie in the world. However, that was the best thing here. Directors knew it was going to be so bad they made sense of humor of it. Theater was applauding every 5 seconds because of Jack Black's memes, including me. Nostalgia was accompanying us from the first second of the movie. Absolute cinema. I mean, I had a good experience in the cinema as well with like audience applause and stuff like that. But I mean, it doesn't always hit. Like, they made it so bad they made sense humor of it. That's not always the case, I would argue. Like, there were definitely some times that it was so bad that it was funny, but not always. 1 out of 10, this is a wonderful game, and the graphics are exactly like Battlefield 4. What? Probably not a movie forever. Yeah, I read that one there. Chicken Jockey, this is a crafting table. Coming in hot, I'm Steve. Hot lava and chicken, flint and steel, water bucket release. 10. Oh, man. And yeah, it doesn't always necessarily. This is a great video game movie. Super ridiculous, funny, and lots of nods to the game. This isn't supposed to be an Oscar movie. It's a fun popcorn movie. In 4DX if you have it in your town. Just being a recording of some gameplay? What? Um, I, I, this is the worst movie I've seen in my life since I have to enter at least 75 characters. I wrote this. I don't get the hate. This movie was meant to be for kids. Oh my god. It's one of those things. Do kids not deserve good movies? Do kids not deserve good video games? All that stuff. I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. It is 3:10 in the morning. It is 3:12 in the morning now, actually. Probably update and shut down my PC here, and then it stops lagging as badly. Because that's the way it goes. As long as it doesn't force me to update to Windows 11, I'm going to lose my mind if it somehow sneaks that in or something. Appreciate everybody that tuned in to make zero story progress, make zero actually beating the game progress kind of stream, but literally just running around getting viewpoints that'll, I guess, help speed up my process a little bit more later, while rambling about the Minecraft movie for the past 2 hours. So, yeah. See ya.